Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chase for the Record, the show where top players all get together to try to set a new world record. This show is going to be a little different than usual because our featured game today is going to be Cyberhook, a very recently released grappling hook based first person platformer thing. We're going to start with two familiar players. If you've watched our community race a few weeks ago, Klooger and Heathy, and later on, we'll also be joined by Royal. The thing that makes this Chase for the Record a little more special is it's capping off a speedrun bounty competition that Speed Gaming has been hosting, and it even includes some prize money for the top three players. So not only if someone sets a world record are they getting a world record, but they're also putting themselves in the top spot to make some money. So that's pretty cool. The prize money has been graciously provided by developers Blazing Stick and publishers Graffiti Games. My name is Mythical9. I'll be one of your commentators. And speaking of developers Blazing Stick, I am joined by Totos on commentary. How are you doing?
Hello, hello. I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think this will be a lot of fun. So I didn't really think about I'm gonna have the developer with me that I can talk to them about their game. What should people know about Cyberhook?
Cyberhook is basically a 3D platforming game. Obviously, you can see that on stream. But the special thing is that everything is centered around the hook. So that's in the title, and yeah, you'll be able to see that there's the hook, there's time warping, double jump, and stuff like that, all for always gaining more speed. So while that might sound like kind of scary, especially since we're seeing like top players on stream, we made sure that in the game everything is really simple to use, and obviously not everybody has to be as crazy as the the three people we're going to see today. But yeah, the whole thing about the game is just going fast and not really having too much trouble moving around. So as you can see, the two people just by training are already doing some crazy stuff. But yeah, I'm really eager to see what they really can do, because all I see really in the servers, stuff like that, is just clips and not full runs of mad lads, as we call them. So yeah, I'm really eager to see what they are going to do for us today.
So far, Kluger's our first player to kind of get on a real run here. He's on DNA, which I think is level 12 of about 80 or so. That level's down now, actually. This game moves so fast. By the time you're done talking about one level, it's already over and you're on to the next.
Yeah, levels are actually designed to last around 30 seconds to a minute, maybe 2 minutes for the longer ones. And obviously the players here are just making so sure that they take about 10 seconds or so. Like we can see Klooger abusing the physics. So it's fine really. We designed the game to be breakable. But yeah, you can loop around. One technique is just to loop around a single block and gain more and more speed to be able to flick to the end. So right now, again, Klooger is doing that.
Here it comes.
But I don't know if he's going to skip the whole level. Is he?
Most of it. He's going to get into the purple here.
A good half of the level is being skipped right now. And there you go, almost straight to the end. So yeah, for people that haven't played the game, just a few basics. The blue blocks are just normal blocks. You can hook to them and just touch them, no problem. The yellow ones, you just cannot hook, but you can touch them. And then there's the red and the purple ones, which are a mix of the two, except they kill you. So the purple ones are a mix of red and blue, so you can hook to them, but you cannot touch them. They will kill you on touch. And the red ones are just a mix of red and yellow. Yeah.
The colors break down a little bit if you get too far into it.
The red ones are just here to kill you, and you cannot hook them. So it's really don't touch. And yeah.
Right.
obviously, some levels, especially, I'm looking at Klooger right now, always breaking the levels. Damn. Most levels are breakable. That's the intended way we made the game. Split to allow player to be free, essentially. We were tired a bit of speedrunning games when you had to find ways to break the game, and you were essentially fighting against the game to go fast. And in this one, we just wanted to build levels around a grappling hook, the grappling hook that goes fast, and let players have fun. Really, just break the game as much as you want. I don't care.
Right, you could have
clearly
put a
what people
speed
do.
cap in this game that was like, you know what, you don't go faster than 200. Sorry.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well,
but if you want to keep looping around a block, you can go faster and faster and faster and faster.
Well, that's an interesting thing. We have two speed caps. One of them is a safety one, just so you don't break the game. It's like 500 speed. It's really when either there's a big glitch that I need to fix, or if a player is really getting super high and getting down to earth super fast. So that's the safety one. I don't think anyone ever reached it, well, legally, in quotes. But the other one is just one that we set on the grappling hook. It's like, I think, 360 kilometers per hour. Well, 360 speed. And that's just because after that, it really becomes barely playable. But yeah,
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
even with those caps, players are just max going at 200 kilometers per hour, and that's already crazy. Because when we talked about that, well, divided by 60, 75 if you are talking about miles per hour. But when we talk about speed, it's real speed. Like a meter is a meter in the game. Your character is like 1 meter and 670. Something like that. It's like a bit less, shorter than 6 feet. And when you're going to 200 kilometers per hour, you really are going at that speed. So the players are really getting the hang of it, and it's really tricky to handle if you're not prepared. But obviously, for the players that are not used to playing the game, don't worry. These people are not human. They're crazy bastards. So not even I play the game like that, like looping around and having perfect speed and perfect trajectory. Like freaking Klooger here. It's crazy. Yeah.
So this was kind of tough for me because I've been I'm a speedrunner of other games, on and off a little bit at least. But when you start to learn to speedrun like an 8-bit platformer or something, you can actually get pretty close to what the world record is doing in a lot of cases. You just kind of memorize, like, you jump here, you walk here. Things are generally kind of the same each time. But when I started playing this game, and every tiny little difference I was making was putting me into a slightly different place that I needed to adjust to all the time, and also all the little things that the players are doing to go faster and faster, all the extra little grapple jumps and stuff they're doing, gives you more speed, which after a certain amount of time will put you somewhere else in the level. And especially when you're talking about doing flings straight to the exit or whatever, you just need a certain amount of speed in order to get there. So it was actually, extremely difficult, if not outright impossible, for me to just follow what the top players were doing in this game. And so there's a real steep learning curve to it.
Actually, that's a thing we are trying to fix, because we've seen a lot of people telling us that it's impossible, I can't do it, and stuff like that. Especially when we were in beta, we did something like, if you get something like top 3 in the demo, you could earn a free beta key. So people were actually grinding the demo, which was a bit easier, and some of them were telling us, it's too hard, maybe do top 5 or something like that, can I have a key for the beta, stuff like that. And we told them no, because we mean, but also because some people actually told us, it's too hard, and we just told them a few tricks to get started, and they really got top 3 like real quick. I remember Not sure if it was Sanity or someone else, but some people, some runners were just telling us, yeah, it's too hard, can't do it. Yes, you can. The Kloogers we see and Heathy we see today, and Royal we're going to see a bit later. They didn't get as good as this in a day. I think Klooger has been one of the first runners on this game. He's been running for a year, so obviously you can't do as good as him right away. It would be kind of insulting, actually. Yeah, I just picked up the game. I'm top 2. But yeah, the main thing is maybe don't try to aim for top 3 right away, because Jojo is going to burn yourself out. You're not going to have fun. The main thing we want to do with this game is for you to have fun, actually enjoy your time. That's a big thing. And if you want to really grind the game, you're free to do so. We give you tools, but you don't have to. And when I was speaking, we actually we missed Klooger actually finishing one of the trickier and most frustrating levels. So maybe when Heathy circles back to it, we're going to talk about it. But yeah, the level was Master and Airbender. It's one of the community least favorite level, simply because it's super long and you have to wall run a lot. So clearly the game is not perfect, and we have planned for more updates and stuff like that. Always following the community feedback. Like, for example, we see Heathy and Klooger running the game, but even they have trouble with a few, well, I guess, high-level techniques that I'm going to patch in the next level, next updates. Sorry. And
really?
Yeah. The big one is what we call pogo sticking, or just it's double jump spam. Essentially, if you double jump really quick and hook to the ground, the speed you are supposed to gain upwards is instantly converted to horizontal speed.
Oh.
So what happens is you get just a little bit more speed, like maybe 10 units. It's fine in itself, but when you combine this with varying FPSs, like frame rates, stuff like that, there are people that can get actually a bit faster than others simply because they can spam faster. There is a cap to it, but it's really not what we want the game. We want the game to be about grappling and having the perfect trajectories. But it's not about spamming. So we're going to patch that in the next update once the tournament is finished, is over. But yeah, I'm sure that we'll have more feedback. Maybe you in the chat, you will have feedback, stuff that you want to be added, and we're always open to more stuff. It's a bit tricky to implement everything simply because technically I'm a one-man team right now, even though I also have Arthur and Thomas that both work on the level design and soundtrack and music. But yeah, if you want more stuff added, like code-wise, I'm a lone little boy, so it's tricky. But I'll do my
Please
best.
be patient.
Please be patient, essentially, yeah. But for simple fixes, I can work kind of fast.
All right. So Heathy has finished up Eagle there very quickly. Very, very cool little level. Has got a bit of a run going. But with that death in that level, actually, I think Heathy's decided there's been too many mistakes so far. He's going to go ahead and reset and start this this nether run-up. So that's how this event works. The players are just trying to set the best PB that they can. So if they feel like if they keep going, they're not going to make it, why spend your time on that run, right? Move on and try another one.
Ooh. I think Heathy is restarting his game, because right now there are a few stutters that can happen sometimes. It's quite fine. I'm just going to fix that a bit later. Yeah, most of the time it doesn't show on stream, but I think they get a little bit of jitter once they start streaming and playing the game for a long time. Yeah, the game is not finished clearly, but I'll be working on it a bit later. Anyway,
Klooger finishing up Big Bank, a very cool level. So I guess like the the flavor of this level is like you're kind of breaking into a bank and stealing something and like making out
Yeah.
with the goods at the end.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. The level was inspired by the level Big Bank from Payday 2. That's where it got its name, and it's one of the biggest level in the game. And note that before one patch, it was actually like 30 or 40% bigger. There were a whole part where we've got a labyrinth in place, but the problem is it was kind of boring because you don't really want to have to look for an exit when the whole game is based around moving around super fast. So we scratched that and actually reused the idea for another level. I don't remember which one. I'm not even sure it's in the final build. But yeah, we're planning to maybe add a few more levels. It's tricky because the game does sell, but we don't make any money. But we'll keep working on it a little bit. So yeah, we do plan on adding more bigger levels. And oh, while I'm talking about bigger levels, we are on one of the largest right now on Klooger's side. It's essentially just a row of purple blocks. But the interesting thing is this level does have a skip, like we've seen a bit before. You can actually fling yourself forward to skip half the level. But it's really tricky because if you miss, you lose a lot of time. Like you lose a good 20 seconds of flight where you're just waiting to reach the target. So if you miss that, you have to restart, and that's a big loss. So that's the difference that we see between marathon mode and just regular runs. Most of the people in regular runs, like you have a level, you're going to grind it to get the best time. But in marathon mode, you really have to take the safer approach. Like what can I do the most optimally without dying? So that's tricky things to guess, and that's one of the differences between the marathon mode and just running the game.
Yeah, I guess to clear things up I think the speed gaming audience is mostly used to the default category is you play the whole game. That's the category. Yeah. But this is a real sort of time trials focused game, and so everyone's focus is kind of mainly on individual level leaderboards and strats, and so I think everyone's kind of coming from that place and then having to adjust to marathon mode, trying to decide which strats they want to keep and which ones they want to throw out for something that's more safe, more consistent.
Yeah. And that's another thing. The reason why we don't speedrun the full game as usual and why we have a marathon mode in the first place is we, as designers, we didn't want the game to be too restricted to speedrunners. Like, all right, we love speedrunning, we love speedrunners, but if that's the only person that can enjoy the game, we are really shooting ourselves in the foot. Because while there are many speedrunners out there, not every one of them are going to want to play our game. So we need to make the game at least accessible to most people. So what we did is having the normal levels be obviously finishable by everyone. But if you actually get a certain amount of stars, so if you get a decent time, you can actually unlock more worlds and more levels without having to finish the ones you don't really like or are too hard for you. So while the progression is more suited for everyone, it's worse for speedrunners because you've maybe finished like 5-10 levels and then you are brought back to the hub world, have a little tutorial, something that we don't see, but you actually have a friend in the hub world that teaches you a few things, like maybe double jumping or wall running, and having that for everyone and not being super sure when this starts up and where you can finish the game is tricky, especially since you don't have to finish every level to be able to beat the game. Like you need to have 170 stars to have the final cutscene. and then the whole game actually has something around 250 stars, something like 200 stars. So if you get to the end, you haven't done every level. So that's why we have a marathon mode where you can actually have all speedrun, all levels without ever stopping to have any kind of discussion with Joel.
Here's Klooger flying down the end of a really, really difficult level.
Yeah. Actually, Klooger is getting to the later levels. Those, I think it's the final world. And as you can see, it's quite easy for us to make harder levels. You just put red everywhere. Like literally 80% of the screen is red. But yeah, most of the harder levels obviously have more red stuff. But as you can see, it's not obligatory. We can just have longer falls, longer distance to travel, stuff like that. And we also have enemies. You see, Klooger is actually shooting some blue balls that we can't really see much of, simply because those are enemies that if you do not shoot in a second, they will shoot you back with perfect accuracy. Note that you can actually dodge them by time warping, which is really cool. Like it freezes the bullets in place, so you can have them like 3 or 4 chase you, shoot at you, and you can like matrix your way out. Pretty cool stuff. But we don't get to see that because we are watching speedrunners, and those are mad lads, and they are just pre-shotting everything. So it's fine. But there are more to it than that. We do want to actually. My God, this level. I'm watching Klooger, sorry. This one is one of the worst, but yeah, we do plan on adding more enemies, more stuff to the game, maybe even a level editor. No spoilers though. But yeah, if we can just get back to that damn level with the tunnel that Klooger just finished in one shot. This level is in development, between developer, we called it the Purge, because you're going to freaking die. This one is so annoying, and that's one of the worst. Really, I can shit on my game, I don't care. But this level is just full pain. Damn.
He just blew through it though, so he's on to what I think is one of the more fun levels as he reveal a tube that launches you at a 360 units per second or whatever it is, which is it's enough to get you that achievement for one, but it's faster than you'll be going at any other point in the speedrun.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, just Klooger just finished Try Harder, which is one of the harder levels, which was designed to be harder than anything we ever designed. But yeah, he just one-shotted it. Whatever. But yeah, you did talk about going fast and stuff like that. And a funny thing is, at the beginning in the alpha, I think it wasn't public then, but we had a lot of stuff that was kind of trash, honestly. Like we didn't realize or have all the keys right away. So what we did essentially was you could hook around just fine. Like you could fly around like maybe at 50 or 70% the speed we have then, but the moment you touch the ground, you were back to a standard running speed. Like you go like 40 or 50 units per second. So essentially, it's not a problem. But it's not a problem in every level. Like where you speedrun a 3D game, it's a given. You just walk on the ground at maximum speed, but you can get super fast in the air. So one thing that happened, if you touch the ground, your run was essentially over. So what we chose was just, fuck it. You can go at any freaking speed on the ground, as fast as you can. So if you consider it, you're actually going like freaking fast. And it's always some community feedback. Like we had, I think it was a journalist that told us, the game is good, but if you touch the ground, you're fucking dead. It's annoying. And we fixed that. So the more we got around with the community, the more we actually added to the game. So if you want to take up maybe the demo, stuff like that, we have a demo, it's free. We have like 10 levels. If you want to try out the demo and just give us feedback, we are 100% open for it, because the game wouldn't be like half what it is today if it wasn't for people bitching, essentially. People telling us,
It's
yeah,
constructive
no,
criticism, it's
yeah.
feedback, it's valuable.
Yeah, but that's funny, because I saw a few of my friends like tell me, "Oh my God, this guy just shut on your game. He hates it." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And yeah, all the time, every time I have not even bad opinions, just criticism. Like people saying, "Yeah, I don't like that. It's super fine, because I'm making a game for you guys. I love the game already, but if I can improve it for that most people can enjoy it, I'm all for it. I won't cry because, oh my God, you didn't like the color of that or this block or that block. Hey, it's fine. I can make you maybe an option that you can change the color and stuff like that. It's fine. So yeah, community feedback, always good. I love it.
Well, Klooger has provided a bunch of feedback. Also provided us with a pretty darn good run. Unfortunately, not quite enough to beat his PB of 2050. I think he was just north of 21 on that run. So a really great opening run, really good warm-up for Klooger. We'll see if he can maybe improve his time. He is the current world record holder for marathon mode.
Yep. And for maybe half the levels.
Yeah, he is kind of the number one, and it shows in some of the times. The next closest is Audacity, who is pretty close actually. It's just 11 seconds, but then there's a pretty big gap of over a minute between Audacity and Heathy, who is our other player on the right here. So it will be pretty tough for Heathy to come up with a big 2-minute improvement over the course of this event. You know, I don't know how long we'll be here, an hour or maybe more. But, you know, I don't know, maybe a miracle happens.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I don't really remember when Audacity joined. Sorry about that. Don't burn me in the Discord server. But I think it was kind of recent, like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So when you compare it to Klooger, which who has been here like for a year, it's really impressive. Like, we are genuinely impressed by his performance. Like, beating Klooger, which was thought that being like freaking god in this game, in maybe two or 3 months. It's really impressive, and it shows that everybody can really do it. And we're really glad. Like, something we don't say a lot, that because we are in this situation today. Like, I'm so glad that Speed Gaming is actually hosting my games. Like, that's awesome. I used to watch streams on Speed Gaming and speedrun.com, stuff like that, and now I'm here. But we still have to realize that, yeah, people are actually getting invested in the game, and wow, to me that's freaking insane, and I don't realize it enough how lucky I am to have all these players here. Please, thank you to everyone. I love you.
So Audacity actually in the chat saying they joined at the end of September, which is pretty similar to Heathy actually, who not only started playing and speedrunning this game towards the end of September, but actually started speedrunning period. Had no other speedrun experience until jumping into this game. I assume partially because of the competition that was happening. And has worked his way up all the way to 3rd on the marathon leaderboard, and is way up there in a lot of the individual level times as well. It's been a really great journey from Heathy.
It's insane. Really, I don't realize myself. Like you said, people may think it's impossible. It's not for me, dude. Single month he got top 2. Against someone that's been grinding the game for a year. Well, I'm just saying that I don't want to belittle the work Klooger has put in the game. He's freaking insane. But yeah, everyone can have a great time. Just getting maybe top 5 even. Like, people always want top 1, but it's obvious that not everyone can get top 1 in in a month. Well, maybe Audacity will prove me wrong, but yeah, you don't have to grind the game that hard. As long as you have fun, at least we'll be happy.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I
that-
had a lot of fun just going for 3 stars on every level. I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty achievable thing. I'm not really a big first-person mouse and keyboard style gamer. You know, I'm more used to having a controller in my hands, so there was a lot that was a real challenge for me, especially in some of those later levels. But I got there, right? I did it, and that was a really fun journey for me.
Yeah, and actually a little thing we do for our Discord members is if you get top 3 on every level, and get a top 3, sorry, if you get 3 stars on every level and get a top 3 anywhere at any time, you actually get a role, a super specific role. Called Edit Runner, and you can actually chat with us directly in a special chat and get access to updates before everyone else. So someone actually pointed it out that we're doing closed closed beta in quotes, but we're doing a closed beta based on skill and not first people joining. Actually that's kind of what we did without knowing it. So yeah, if you get good, you actually get rewarded for your hard work. And maybe we do have plans on adding more stuff to reward players, but it's tricky. It takes a lot of time to make stuff. But we do plan on adding more stuff. Maybe skins for your hooks and stuff like that.
Like skins for your character that you see only their hands?
Yeah. Like CSGO skins. I know that you know this. That's a bit personally like my dev quest. But the people, sorry, I've worked on this game for a long time, like 3 years or more than 3 years now. And it started as just a little prototype, like just try it out, make a grappling hook. And the more I worked on it, the more interesting it became. So with time, I've just tried out everything. Like you know, the blocks we see like everywhere, or even the skybox, the full skybox. It's all shaders. Like the ground at the base, it's just a flat plane. And with the shader, I make it rise and fall, following the camera. That's why you always think you're in the middle of the skybox, but actually you're not. You are moving around. It's just the skybox that literally follows you based on just a piece of code in the graphics card.
Nice.
But yeah, and the thing is with that, it's kind of easy to make a really cool looking skin. Maybe like, you know, you have your glowing lines on your hands, but I can add more glowing lines or even fire type stuff like electricity or just a gold reflection to the hands, and that can get really cool real fast. Or even, and that's an idea that we might have in the future, allow for custom skins made by the community. So that's good. That could be really cool. Like having the workshop for maybe levels or skins for your player. That's something we're working on. Like we are looking at it. I know if I say that, yeah, we're definitely working on a Steam workshop, people are going to pester me about when it comes out, but we're just looking into it. We're not sure that we're going to implement it even in this year. I'm not sure, but it might happen. Yeah.
2 difficult levels for both players now. Klooger is trying to execute a fling on the run. This skips a huge part of the stage, so despite this being so difficult, both players are going to be trying to do... Yeah, you can see there's very little blue that you have to latch onto while you swing over these walls, and that's actually enough to get Klooger to reset. Meanwhile, Heathy also finishing another difficult level, so keeping the run alive late into the run. This is inertia level 58-ish or so, pretty far in. Yeah, 58. I nailed it. Perfect.
Nice. And this the skip that made Klooger rage quit. It was not intended, at all, like really. And the level is actually kind of big, like big bank big. It was designed to be cleared in maybe 40 seconds, 50 seconds. But with this skip, the players are just blasting through maybe in 20 seconds. So we did find this skip pretty early on because this level wasn't the beta. So people told us, oh, by the way, level broke. And we actually asked the community, should we patch it? Because if we move the exit around like maybe a 90-degree angle, something like that, if we move the exit, the skip doesn't work anymore. But the people were pretty stoked about it because it's such a tricky skip, and yet you have a lot of space to gain speed, like to loop around. You know, the platform, the blue platform, is quite large. So it was tricky, but not really that frustrating because you can actually get it quite easily. So we decided to just skip it in. Yeah. So now we can actually look at Klooger trying out a particular skip on this level. So this one wasn't intended as well, but whatever. Oh, 360, my boy. It's kind of tricky. You're supposed to use the cannon here, but yeah, there we go. He's actually practicing, so that's another thing we want to have in the game. In too many speedrun games, there are glitches and tricks to get faster. Though they're cool, but most of the time they actually look super ugly. Like for example, in Portal 2, there's one glitch that allows you to gain a lot of speed, a lot of backward speed. I don't remember if it's Portal or Half-Life or both. But either way, if you move, if you jump back and crouch, you actually get a shit ton of speed. But for a viewer, you're just going to go
backwards through the whole game. Yeah.
So that's kind of trash. And so we try to always balance things out. When we find a glitch, we usually don't patch it. Like for example, I talked about the pogo sticking at the beginning. It's not something we're going to nerf, really. We could just make it... we had a few ideas, like maybe you can double jump just once, but no, it nerfs people. If you're just playing the game, you want to be able to double jump as much as you want. Maybe we can decrease the speed and stuff like that. But what we're going to do, mainly, is make the other options more enticing. Like we're going to buff the pulling speed, we're going to buff the running speed, and because that's a big glitch, we're going to tweak it slightly. So the double jump will not give you more speed if you go really fast. It's just going to move your speed essentially. It's going to make you go at a better angle, but not give you speed. So that's what we're going to do. Most of the stuff is not going to be nerfs, really. I don't like that. Just, yeah, you found a glitch, we're going to remove it because you're a bad boy. No! That's just bad design. We're going, for example, like the flicks, like going around and looping around with one single block. That's something we didn't intend, and it's kind of cool, but not that much when you do it on half the level. So we did try to patch it a bit. So the main thing is we actually have varying degrees of gravity. When you are going up or down, the gravity changes and fluctuates. So if you're going down, you have less gravity, so you gain less speed when you're going down. And this actually nerfed a few flips, we call them, like skips, flings, sorry. It did nerf a few of them, but we didn't break it, essentially.
All right, so things for players to get used to.
Heathy is actually on this damn level and is going to try a really tricky strat. I don't think it's going to work for Marathon because this strat is actually using the purple blocks to gain more speed. And, oh, yeah, he got it. It's really hard and maybe not appropriate for Marathon mode because he had to retry it 3 or 4 times. But it's really tricky. You have like a 3-meter wide corridor where you have to fling yourself like at 100 units per second speed. It's insane. Those people.
It feels, however big it is, it feels smaller.
Oh, it does. Yeah. The the units that Arthur, the level designer, used for most blocks is 6 meters, so it's quite large actually. And yeah, this tunnel is maybe 4 or 5 meters wide, so it's less than most block we use. That's how we get this claustrophobic feeling. But yeah, it's still a purge. All right, Heathy is getting to the try harder level.
Yeah.
This one is kind of famous because, like I said, it was made to be tricky. But throughout I'd say the years, but the month, people have found quite an interesting way of getting past it, and it evolved into a pretty great, a great run. Thing is, we designed this level like try harder to be beatable in 15, maybe 20 seconds if you take your time. And the Mad Lads actually managed to get it under 9 seconds, not even 10, under 9, like 8.95, something like that. When we see that, when I show the replays, because there are replays in the game, when I show the replays to Arthur, his first reaction is obviously to say, "My God, they're insane," but there's a bit of pain also, simply because he didn't make it to be that broken. But when you have people that grind your game are actually just godlike, you cannot feel sad. You just feel you just feel impressed by so much skill, really, because we can't, definitely can't do that. So when we design a level, we're going a bit blind, really. We're going to be like, I think he can do that, maybe, I don't know, I don't care, you'll find something else. So yeah, that's a really cool feeling, that when you design a level, you yourself don't even know what your players are going to find. And that keeps the level design really fresh for us, because when you work on this game for like 3 years and more, it gets kind of stale, you know. It's always the same stuff, always the same fixes or new features in the same world, same game. But when you see players that actually are completely insane at breaking your levels, it does feel really cool and makes you want to go even further.
Heathy's gone even further beyond, has finished a run with a 24:15, just a couple minutes off of PB. There we saw some frustration shots fired, dying right at the end of the last stage, which is a little bit mean, by the way, making you do the hardest part of try harder one more time.
Yeah.
It's
a bit it's a trickier version of try harder. Essentially, it's the same corridor at the end, but it's a 90 degrees angle. So yeah, it's even more hard. It's even harder. But if we add the level editor, I'm sure that some crazy speedrunners are going to use it to make even harder levels. And it's going to turn into Kaizo Cyberhook, something like that. Kaizo Hook. But yeah.
It's coming from the Doom community, which has been making maps and stuff for Doom for an eternity. I can tell you, if there's an element that gets reused, like there's a map called like Circle of Destruction or something, and then the fans made another version of that map, and now there's like 50 versions of that map out there. So if you give a level editor to the Cyberhood crew, you're gonna see try hardest and try harderest, and you're gonna see like 15 different iterations on that same level. I guarantee it.
That sounds good. Actually, the more we talk about the level editor, the more we actually want to make it too, because you can see obviously everything in the level is just blocks for multiple reasons. The biggest one is that we don't have anyone. We are just a three-man team, so we had to make it as easy to to craft as possible to get the most levels out there. So everything is based around the 4 types of block, 5 if you count the breakable cubes. So it's quite easy for players to. It will be quite easy for players to make their own level. Like I haven't made any maps for Doom or any game for that matter, but I know that it can be tricky to have a complete level with a good composition, stuff like that, being clear to the player. But in Cyberhook, if we make that damn level editor, it would be quite easy for people to try it out. It's just a few blocks, a start, an end, and that's it.
Yeah,
Maybe
give it a color,
add,
position, drag the sides of it to make it the size you want. Totally.
Yeah. So,
If it's just that easy, you can just add it into your game, no problem. It's not even a thing.
It's so easy. I'm sure I won't have to work with bugs and stuff like that and breaking the game.
I'm sure replays will just work flawlessly on them. Every user-made level perfectly every time.
Well, technically, if I do a level editor, the exported level would be just basically a normal level for Cyberhook. So if I don't fuck it up, and that's a big if, but that could work. That could work. I mean, even the marathon mode is kind of glitchy. I know that there is a glitch where you can't actually restart the marathon mode itself. I need to work on that. But yeah, level editor would be the same. And yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. The level editor, why it's kind of tricky to make, because first of all, the first thing I wanted to have an editor, an in-game editor. But that would actually require me to make all the controls myself, all the user interface, like the buttons and stuff like that. That's tricky. That takes a lot of work that I can't really afford. I'm not sure. But I think we're going to go with the option to actually work with the Unity engine, which we use to make the game. So the idea would be to give a basic stuff to the community, like a working player, level manager, stuff like that, and the cubes, and let the community have fun with the level in Unity. So you could actually make games or make levels for Cyberhook and learn a bit how the industry works in like real time. It could be cool.
That could be really cool. So Heathy didn't quite made just one mistake, not really too big, but it was after like a couple other small mistakes, and the run was early enough. So Heathy goes ahead and opts for a reset.
Yeah,
but Klooger's been going pretty good so far on another run. Is on climbing, which is a fun level. It's kind of an inverted version of one of the really early levels, except you're going up instead of down the whole time.
And finally, I stopped talking soon enough to talk about Master and Bender. This one, Klooger is actually on. This level was designed was very early. Was designed very early, and in the past, the game was actually much slower. You didn't even have wall running, stuff like that. So it was actually kind of easy to beat. That's why this level is like in the middle of the game. But now with this faster pulling speed and wall running, it's really hard to actually get it quickly, like finish it quickly. So most people are kind of frustrated because you have to go slow on this level. That's why we're going to work on it a little bit more.
Got a fun level with some moving objects with I don't know, they're kind of like trucks, I guess, for Klooger, but moving objects are fun because once you latch onto them, not only are you reeling towards them, but the object is also pulling you forward, so it's a huge speed boost at the start of the level.
Yeah, that's another thing we plan on adding more levels with that, because this feature was designed quite late in development, so we have like maybe 15 levels with it. I don't remember. But if we have more levels, we do plan on adding more moving stuff. Simply because it opens up a lot of possibilities, like maybe fling yourself around with a big pole shooting you across the level, or just having multiple killing blocks going straight at you, stuff like that. Yeah, we have a lot of ideas to torture our players, but they actually seem to enjoy it. I don't know.
I'm enjoying watching these players go. Heathy is on to the last level of the first world. Gotta go play, and is going to be executing on a skip here, swinging around on that sort of pole after getting the speed from the tube. It's that's a slightly different strat than we see from Klooger on that level, actually.
Yeah, that's the safer skip. So Klooger, being the beast he is, obviously tries the dangerous skip, which is not taking the propulsion zone, the cannons, and straight using the wall actually to climb up and shoot yourself high enough to catch the end. So it's quite tricky, but he's Klooger. He's insane. Ah, damn. Yeah. The funny thing is, it's kind of smooth to just watch them play through easier levels. Like, for example, we watch Klooger, most of this level is just running around and, well, essentially running, yeah. But it's still quite smooth because they do it so well. Like, they get so much speed that it's really impressive to even experienced player to watch that. So that's something we're kind of proud of. We're happy that the game looks kind of nice, even if if the level is too easy.
Heathy's doing an easier version, not really a version, it's a completely different strat, really, going through the level a lot more traditionally, which is kind of interesting because you get a lot of, like, you're grappling to a lot of things the whole way, so you are kind of constantly building speed and accelerating. Whereas if you go for the big fling, you're constantly building speed and accelerating, but then you're just kind of having a shorter travel time. But you're not going anywhere while you're looping around the starting area. So while you're doing that, someone else is making their way through the level, right? So it's got to cut enough time to actually save time. And it turns out on that level, the margins are actually very small. You need to be quite good and precise at that skip in order to actually save time with it.
Yeah, and that's something we need to balance on the design point perspective, because we know obviously, like, you can fling yourself up and down to gain speed, but it does take time, and that's time you could be spending just flinging yourself towards the exit, like you said. But yeah, we're going to keep working on that and just make it more interesting for players to just keep moving forwards. Obviously, we can't fix, in quotes, every instances of maybe skips or just player running in a circle for 10 seconds. But if we fix most of them, that's still kind of good, because the game is built around freedom. Like, move around as much as you like, skip, cheat, and break the levels. It's fine, really. So we don't want to punish people for finding cool stuff, but we want to add more options later on. We actually have a few ideas on what to add in terms of movement options. There are a few, but it's really just super early in development, so even if we start coding them, so I'm not going to talk about them too much. But there are more options to let players get their run, essentially, get their best run.
All right. Pretty good run on Purple Veins. Moving on to Rabbitor, which is it's pretty scary. There's red everywhere, and the exit is kind of trapped behind all this stuff. So having to swing around. Oh, missed the exit. This is something that happens sometimes, and it's tricky because obviously it's a lot slower to slow down at the end. So a lot of players will just fling themselves at the exit full speed, and if you miss, you cannot stop in time.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about the marathon mode is if you actually miss that, that's a full 10 seconds or 20 seconds lost. That's why the most safer options are actually really viable. Because if you lose 1 second but are sure to make it to the end, hey, that's much better than going for the faster strat that gains 1 second, that saves 1 second. But you risk losing 20. So yeah, that's why we see that Heathy and Royal afterwards, or even any player for that matter, can actually get a pretty good spot on the marathon mode if they just play it safe.
Heathy had a spill on that level and is, I think, going to reset here, try again from the beginning, try to get a really good one going. Kind of like Klooger's got going here on Inertia, which is it's a fun level. You get a ton of speed. Got a little bit wrong here at the end, but you're going so fast, but it kind of doesn't feel like it because everything around you is so big.
Yeah.
So it kind of messes with your depth perception a little bit. It's very common to see players grapple to things too early and not actually be in range yet. It's a fun level.
Yeah, that's something we try to fix also with the crosshair. Most people don't really see it. But yeah, if you are in range, you get a little blip, and the crosshair actually snaps to in a cross. But yeah, about bigger levels. That's something that we need to actually work on, because we know that in order to get a sense of speed, you really need stuff that moves around you. So it's tricky because we have to balance between this feeling of speed and just having enough space to move around. So that's another thing that cubes are really good for, because if we just set cubes on the ground like normal cubes, like 6-meter cubes, if you go super fast, you can actually see the lines go super fast beneath you. So it gives you a sense of speed. But in this level that you cited, it's really just one big room with emptiness all around you. So it's tricky to feel the speed, but you are going super fast. That's actually easier for newer players, but that's a bit sad for speedrunning because you don't see the speed. That's something we need to balance.
Well, the speedometer in the corner certainly helps a lot. I saw Heathy's speedometer take a big dip, kind of slammed into the floor a little bit on the third level here. I was wondering if he was going to reset over that, but I think he's just trying to get a run going, trying to get something on the board, and is willing to overlook just one mistake early on. Extremely difficult level for Klooger, flinging over to the other side of the tower. I mean, the hard part is kind of going up. The down part is really not too bad. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, and speaking of Heathy restarting, it's kind of tricky because if you keep restarting, it's fine really, but you're just going to get good at the earlier levels, which are basically easy. And when you get to the harder ones, you won't know what to do. So that's why we see Klooger actually, even if he makes a few mistakes, try to finish his runs, simply to have the same practice on every level, which is kind of the good thing to do.
Well, his consistency shows in his play, right? He's not only like putting up the fastest times, but even here today on this competition put up a time that was like 20-30 seconds off of his PB. So he really is just that good.
Yeah. I think Klooger is a kind of the dad of the community. It's like, yeah, I can do it. I know. I always do it, and everybody's trying to be the dad, the big dad. So yeah, that's something funny because, as developers, we love everyone in our community, especially the crazy ones that finish the game in 20 minutes. But it's always funny to have a sense of rivalry, because if you beat Klooger, you're really a mad lad, but if Klooger beats you, it's just Klooger, it's fine. But we have to remember that this man, this girl, I'm not sure. I think he's a boy. Uh, this dude is freaking insane, really. We're just expecting him to be crazy, but we need to remember that, hey, this boy is awesome. Look at him, going like 180 meters unit per second. You know, I'm numb now to seeing him just fling through levels, but it's always impressive to see him beat a newer level in like 10 seconds when we expected it to be like 30 minutes, 30 seconds.
30 minutes would have been something. As good as Klooger is, that would be a tall task. He's on easy Wii now, which I guess is supposed to be like a joke on it's an easy win, but then like you die at the end or something, so it's like easy win. That's my take on it. I don't know where the name of this level came from.
Most of the level names are based on either inside jokes or just us being lazy about naming every level. Because yeah, I know that there are a few inside jokes and memes in the level names. Like I think one of them is called Carpenter, and if you look at it, it starts with a lot of upside down crosses, and that's obviously a reference to Carpenter Brute, because we used to listen a lot to his music while building levels and even myself coding. So that's a little reference, but there are stupider stuff inside that I don't really want to talk about, because I'm not sure I would be man enough to take the criticism.
Ooh. Klooger at the very end of the second last level, Coma, missed the exit and hit the purple stuff behind. This is a thing the players are aware of, because look how much speed you build running into the exit, right? So it's a real tricky, like, kind of left-right that you got to do, and it's hard to get lined up with the door, and you know if you're a little bit off, you're just going to slam into that back wall.
Yeah, we really see Klooger actually being so mad, because that's the next to last level, and he just screwed it up. Yeah, there is actually a small purple block right behind the door, so you can actually miss the door and crash into it. That's what happened, and that's something really tough.
21:17 was his final time, and counting for an extra rego on Coma. I don't know if that's 27 seconds. It would have been really, really close to his PB if he had managed to clutch out the end of that level. So, I mean, if nothing else, is showing amazing consistency here. Very impressive stuff.
Yeah. And you hear that, people in the chat. The game can be finished in 20 minutes, so you can actually buy the game, finish it, and just ask for a refund. It's fine, don't worry about it. I'm sure you'll finish every level in one go, like the speedrunners we see here.
Including the tutorial and all the cutscenes and the...
Yeah. Actually, funny thing is, we made sure that every part of the tutorial is actually skippable. You can cheese the game like that, but it's not it's not easy to do most of the time, but it's not required at all. Simply because if you use marathon mode, yeah, you don't have any kind of dialogue, tutorial, or anything. But it's funny because we get a lot of people telling us, hey, by the way, the game is broken. And we just have to answer, yeah, that wasn't designed like that. Don't worry about it, just play. So that's gonna a hidden way to tell people, yeah, that's not a bug, it's just a feature, it's designed this way. Lazy dev.
Yeah, there's been a movement away from speedrunners talking about video games, because they're always playing games so much, they're always finding all of the little bugs and things, right? Like the stuff that no game developer can completely erase from their games eventually gets exposed by these super passionate people. And I think really early on, when people kind of understood less about game development, you would see that kind of lazy game developer kind of comment or something. But I think there's been a real push, specifically in the speedrun community. We're dealing with these bugs a lot of the time, to move away from that kind of stuff, because like really it is. Yeah, it's every video game has something like this, and it just doesn't make sense to devote all of your resources to trying to get every single last one of them, because only 0.5% of your player base is going to find them or whatever. And sometimes they're fun. Sometimes they're cool.
Yeah.
They have fun results, and they make speedruns possible in new ways and all kinds of things.
Yeah, most of the time when I say lazy Dave, it's just a joke for me, because I know that every time the players have a request, I try to do it as best as fast and as best as I can. But I know there are a few things that are missing, so I'm just saying that so I can actually push myself to fix them as soon as possible. But yeah, most of the time it's fine. We really only talk about lazy devs when it's a really big problem and they are not willing to fix it right away, even if the fix is quite easy. Like, I know, 1 week ago, like I pushed a version of the demo on Steam with a small fix, but I didn't test it because it was just one small fix. And after a few people complaining, I just realized that the game is actually broken and cannot launch the very first level. So I would have been a lazy dev if I didn't wake up like at 6 a.m. to fix this bug super quick and go back to sleep. I mean, for indie devs, usually, since it's usually a passion project for every game they make, you don't see any kind of lazy devs, because you don't design your game to be bad, essentially. Most of the lazy devs, it's just based on restrictions from the management team. Like, if I take a big studio, like, I don't know, French one, Ubisoft, or maybe EA or Naughty Dog, if you really see a big problem that isn't fixed, it's most likely that they don't have the budget to get the team back on the game all the time, all the wheel. So that's where when we actually can see them lazy devs comments, and it's fine, really. It's fine.
What's more than fine is this run Heathy's got going. It's been pretty clean. Has been struggling a little bit trying to get like one of those really good runs going. So we'll see if Heathy can keep it going.
Yeah.
On climbing is about a quarter of the way through the game, I think, at that point.
Yeah, it's getting good at the early levels, but the tricky stuff is at the end, obviously.
Well, speaking of tricky stuff, here comes Master Airbender.
We are. Yeah, and by the way, for new viewers, I'm not sure, we have to point out that Klooger is actually, I think, top 1 in the game. He's the beast of the game, and Heathy is actually a very new player that joined, I think, 2 months ago. And yeah, he's already getting some really good times and actually can compete with him. Albeit having 2 minutes of 2 minutes time behind Klooger, but for a game about that takes about 20 minutes to finish, it's just 10% difference. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty comparable, and there's some IL times too where Heathy is up there, top 5, top 3, for sure.
Actually, yeah, I'm going to check quickly, because on the server we have a channel that is fed directly from the game, so we can see who's the top 1, who gets top 3.
Klooger with the big launch into the into the totally original character design at the end of the level. You got to get a lot of speed in order to get straight up there, skipping the tube that sort of launches you in there. So that's a sticking point in the run. Trying to build up the necessary speed on the way to make that is it's very tricky. That was the thing I was trying for a while, just trying to figure out, like, how do they get so much speed? How do they get all these grapple jumps in? But both players are. I guess we haven't really talked about this grapple jump mechanic. It's a very common way of gaining speed. We're seeing Heathy doing it constantly right now on all these purple bars. Once you are connected to something with the grapple, you can just like disconnect from it, but you can also just jump off of it, and that jump gives you a little kick in speed. But you can pretty quickly just grapple again and then jump again. And so if you can get that in quickly, get into the rhythm of it, you can actually build up a lot of speed in a short amount of time compared to someone who's not doing that.
Yeah. And that's another thing about the game. It's if you handle your trajectories correctly, you can basically fly because you have the hook again that has a 30 meters range, 30 units range, and you have a double jump at any time. And when you hook, you get that double jump back. So we have to we actually differentiate between a hook jump, which is when you are hooked to a block, and press jump, which gives you a little bump. And that's what the speedrunners abuse to get a lot of speed real quick. And the double jump, which occurs when you do not have, when you are not hooked to anything, and gives you a greater boost, but forces you to not be grappled to anything. So yeah, and you also get that double jump back anytime you either wall run or hook anything, or land back on the ground. So yeah, that's a lot of options to just fly around.
Well, Heathy is on top of the door. All right, there we go. That happens sometimes. You got to be ready to correct for those last second sorts of things, because there's a ton of levels where you're coming in hot on the final door, right? And if you miss, sometimes recovering is pretty awkward. Like sometimes it's yellow around the doors. There's not a lot to grapple to, so a lot of players are kind of caught off guard sometimes if they don't hit that door.
Yeah, that's kind of tricky, and that's another interesting thing about the game. It's most of it is pretty straightforward. Like the routes are pretty set in stone, especially for the smaller levels, the shorter levels. But you always have to deal with the uncertainty of the grapple, because it's going so fast. You are not 100% sure about where exactly you're going to go, and we saw that with Heathy. A common mistake that everybody does is just overshooting the ending door. Like this game goes super fast, and you have to be like in a 2-meter square to hit a 2-meter square to finish the level. So if you really rush to the end, it's tricky to just land right every time.
So Heathy unfortunately died pretty late into Big Bank, which is, we've talked about, a very, very long level, one of the worst levels to die on. Sometimes
sadly.
he'll slow down and take that scary purple section a little more safe, but that time he really went for it and didn't quite get there.
Yeah, actually that purple section was not intended to be purple as it is, because there is a little button right on the corner that actually turns every purple block into blue blocks if you press it. So for normal players, in quotes, you can just shoot the button and run into the tunnel. It's fine. But we don't have normal players here. We have speedrunners and mad lads. So they don't even bother with the button, because the speed at which the cubes change color is not fast enough for them. So they just rush through a small purple corridor and just call it a day.
Both players have been moving pretty good through their respective levels. It can be a little hard to keep track sometimes. Klooger's about halfway through a run on the left, and Heathy a little bit more than half. Purple Veins is like 50-ish or something.
Yeah. Well, it's still pretty smooth all in all, and that's the interesting thing. It's not a race for this, for what we're seeing. It's a race based on who can get his PV first, or the best PV. Though, as you did say at the beginning, it's tricky for Heathy to gain like 2 minutes on Klooger, so we're going to watch who gets his best time. The first, essentially.
Question from chat: how old is this game? Well, Todos might say this game is 3 years old because that's how long he's been working on it, but it was released very recently, September, right?
Yeah, 24th of September, sorry. Yeah, so 1 month and maybe 1 month and a half was released. And the beta actually started, I think, a year ago. It was rough at the beginning because a lot of stuff was not polished enough, but we got it down pretty cool. And we keep actually working on the game a little bit, simply to include most of the feedback that the community has on the Discord server. So if you want to join, you're free to do so. Even if you just try the demo out, there's a little button in the menu, so you can join the server. Thanks. The chat says nice retro style. Yeah.
As a speedrunner, that button is super cool because a question that, when you're a member of a speedrun community, you will always have people saying, how do I speedrun this game or whatever, and there's always this coordinated effort to guide that person towards where the community is. Like, it used to be certain forums or a Skype group or whatever, but nowadays it's usually a Discord server. And so having a button on your game that's like, here is the Discord server where all the people are and you can talk about speedrunning the game, is really good for sort of fostering the community.
Yeah, it's super cool. And really, we're pretty glad to have so many people in the Discord server. I think we are about 700, a bit more, and it's awesome because it's pretty much my first big game release as an indie dev. So I'm really glad that people are so into it. I never realized that my little games would be actually enjoyed by so many people and be good enough to be speedrunned on such a big Twitch channel. I'm really glad. So yeah, you can actually join that, and we also have a Reddit, but it's a bit how do you say it? Damn. It's not. There are not a lot of people on it because most of the memes are on this Discord server.
Yeah, speedrunners tend to hang out on Discord, and Reddit is where you'll maybe find people who watch speedruns, and they sit in the armchair and talk about how runs should be done or whatever.
And yeah, Azold, sorry if I pronounce it wrong in the chat, saying, yeah, I am the creator of the game. I did all the code, the gameplay, the game design, the art, also the cubes. But Arthur actually made all the levels that you see, and Thomas did the music and sound. And thank you for the nice words in chat. That's super nice. Yeah, by the way, this retro style you talked about, it's funny because a lot of people actually tell me it's really cool, and thank you. I'm not an artist, but thank you. And the funny thing is, it stems from me not being able to draw anything. Like, I can't draw for shit, really. I can barely model a cubic hand, as you see. But what I'm good at is numbers and curves. That's why you see animations on the hands a lot. Because animations are just curves and movements. It's not about drawing anything. So I can work with that. And the other thing is, all the cubes are just shaders. It's essentially just small programs run on the graphics card. So I can write that. I can make stuff look bright and cool easily on with what I know, and I don't have to draw anything. That's also why we don't have big meshes like a full-on designed 3D modeled levels. Yeah, that's we only use cubes because yeah, it's easier for me to make a level, to design a game. So, yeah.
Speedrunners love cubes. Turns
Yeah,
out.
it's basic and it works well. And like I said a bit before, if we make a level editor, that would be really easy for people to make more stuff because yeah, just cubes everywhere.
So that was Athlete, I think, done for Klooger now, is latching onto this this mailbox thing in Hawk. Now, it is possible to end up in the mailbox if you latch onto the middle of it. You'll pull yourself right in. We're not going to see that mistake from these players for sure, but
Yeah.
I needed to point it out because we saw that during the blind race, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah, damn. There's a few things we still need to tweak to make it even easier to use for newer players. That's something that I really want to do also because I always love seeing people speedrun the game. As we can see, there are two mad lads battling in front of us. But I also want normal people like me to be able to enjoy the game. So I'm going to keep working on making sure that everybody can have some fun. And one thing is making sure that newer players actually do what they want to do without having too much trouble. Mad lads, yeah.
Klooger on a pretty difficult level, having to catch your grapples on all of these little tilty blocks, and then you want to see the end. There's a hole that's right about where you would land if you were just kind of playing the level the way that he did. So you either need to build up so much speed you end up on the far side of the hole, or you need to double jump, but then the exit is right there, so you might just jump clean over it. So it's a little bit awkward, and you're always going to be coming in with a slightly different position, slightly different speed. So it's important to kind of read how that level has gone and adjust accordingly, and that's exactly what Klooger did.
Yeah. It's always funny because we see them speeding through every level in 10, 20 seconds, but most of them are actually double that. So people in the chat that haven't played the game first might think, yeah, this game's pretty easy. Look at this. But trust me, they make it look easy because, for example, Heathy actually skipping the down scoundrel, skipping one of the hardest levels in the game. And yeah, most of it's just red blocks that kill you. But yeah, for normal people, it's one of the hardest level, and already getting 3 stars at the end of this level is pretty insane.
Looks like he intentionally slows down because he doesn't want to run into the purple on the other side of the door. Is on to the last level now. Let me pull up so I can see his timer.
Oh my god, he was 1 second short of his PB.
Oh man,
that's still awesome, my dude. That's still awesome.
It's hard to be upset with getting so close, right? Like you wanna get a good run on stream basically, and it's hard to get much better than just 1 second off your PB.
Oh my god, I think he's still a mad lad. He's awesome. I clearly cannot do that. Oh my god, he keeps looking at his time. But yeah. Oh, Heathy, you are still my little mad lad. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, the red will kill you. Purple will kill you as well. We get to see a little bit of it there. Klooger getting didn't shoot fast enough. This is you need to shoot a couple times to break some of these green walls. And you're going so fast, you don't have a lot of time to get those shots in. There we go.
Yeah, it's really tricky. And yeah, red kills you, and purple as well. But you can grapple to purple stuff. That's the difference.
All right, second try on your burning. Pretty good. Yeah. I don't think I've seen a player in their marathon run get your burning first try. I think everyone's PBs has at least 1 death in there.
Yeah, but it's understandable. Even for us, we have to take it twice as slow and still die. It's insane. I think Heathy is actually kind of shook by the last run.
Well, he's in chat typing in all caps, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that means shook or amped up or something, but it's
The
gonna take
tilt.
just a short little break here to collect himself before
Yeah,
jumping
you're
back
still
into it.
my
I'm sure.
You're still my mad lad, Heathy. Don't worry about it.
Oh, also, yeah, the slowdown on Coma on the second to last level, right? If you're like, if I didn't do that, I maybe would have PB'd. But you could say that about absolutely anything at any point in the run. So do not get hung up on all the little details.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You're still above 99% of the people in the world. Crazy bastard.
All right, Klooger bumped the wall a little bit on Izui at the end here, but is still looking pretty good, I think. We don't have his splits open or anything, so I can't. I'm not sure where he's at really in the grand scheme of things, but it's been a pretty good run. What a nice save!
Yeah, and you see Klooger actually taking the normal route, which is insane also. But yeah, that's something else we wanted to add in the future is splits for marathon mode and other little quality of life improvements. So we will work on that. It just takes time because we have a lot of things to do.
Okay.
Not
okay.
right. All right.
He's okay. Here we go. Final level.
Yeah.
The final time, 20:55. I think it's 5 seconds off his PB.
I'm not sure. I can't see it.
Yeah, 5 seconds off. Wow. Everyone, I'm not sure we've ever seen so many close calls on an event like Chase for the Record. I mean, this is a little different. Normally, Chase for the Record has got, you know, these world records that have been standing for many years and games that have been run for even longer. Whereas these times, as good as they are ultimately, you know, still a little bit raw. But still, to have so many players be just a couple seconds off of their PB, but not quite get there. I'm sure we're going to get one soon, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I think pretty soon we're going to be adding our third player. Turns
Royal.
out, yes. So the contest that Speed Gaming is hosting for the top 3 times of the marathon mode category, it ends today, November 1st. So that's why we're doing Chase for the Record today. So it kind of had to be today to be part of the event. And it turns out it's also the day that daylight savings time changes, and it also turns out that all our players span the entire globe. So scheduling turned out to be very, very difficult, but we are very glad to have Royal join us, at least for part of our event. So hopefully we'll get them up and running soon.
Yeah. Royal is another mad lad that actually joined before Klooger, I think. And he's as good as him, if not better. But we'll see about that. Because yeah, Klooger is Klooger, and Royal is actually like his kind of his nemesis, because they both also run another game called Speedrunners from Hell, and there it's Royal that actually gets most of the PBs. But that's interesting. 2 different games, the same speedrunners, but here the roles are reversed. It's Klooger being the mad lad, and Royal doing his best, keeping up. I kind of trash talk Royal here, but if it can get him to beat Klooger, hey, that's all good for me.
Well, so Royal's marathon time is actually pretty far off. Is sitting at a 24:39, whereas Heathy's at 22:53, Klooger's at 20:50. But this marathon time is like, I think it's a product of just not doing many marathon runs, right? Royal is top 3 on most levels, has a couple for sure individual level records. Is way up there, like you said, like right there with Klooger, and his marathon time just currently doesn't reflect that. So I'm wondering if we get a couple of attempts in a row at a Royal. I feel like there's a pretty good shot we could see like a huge improvement.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. We have a guy that really like grinds levels individually. Let's see if it really translates to full game runs.
That's true. We could see, someone might specifically do better in individual level speedruns, right? Like there might be something about having to recover from mistakes, or maybe just not even practicing how to recover from mistakes that could really hurt a player when they try to do something like a marathon run. So that might be a factor. I think probably though, it's just a lack of number of attempts at marathon mode. That's my guess. I can't wait to find out.
But it's really different, simply because in a single level you can attempt multiple times the same thing, and you get some muscle memory in. So in a marathon mode, it's really just I want to say pure skill, but yeah, it does end up being just raw skill that takes the cake. I think that's something I can say.
Audacity in chat reporting that might be Royal's only completed run. So yeah, that would absolutely be a lack of attempts if there was only one attempt. So Klooger failed the skip in Bark, which is I think it's like level 15 or something. I got it again, first try. I'm getting better at the level names in order. It's pretty early on, so that mistake was big enough for Klooger to say, I'm going to go ahead and reset this one back to the beginning.
Yeah, and something that's kind of funny is since we developed the game in the files, the levels are not called the same. They are essentially identified by a number. So I know that this or that level is the 6th or the 15th level, but I don't remember the name that we gave them. So when you tell me, yeah, it's Bark, yeah, okay, I'll trust you, I guess.
And I bet also the numbers you have in your files don't necessarily correspond to the order they show up in the game either. Like,
no.
Yeah, it's probably like order you made the levels or something.
Yeah. We usually, Arthur, when he does a level, he has a global idea of where it's going to land in terms of difficulty. But even then, we always tweak back and forth based on community feedback. Like, this level is kind of hard. Maybe put it in this categories. We can never be sure of where to put a level. So we have obviously ideas and in-game IDs, I mean, to have essentially the identity of a level, but they're never sorted.
All right, Heathy's setting up for a big fling. Doing a really good job with the speed. The hard part, really, I mean, I think the flick at the start is pretty hard, but I think these guys kind of have that down. So the hard part becomes getting into the exit at the end, actually. There's a little blue bar at the top that players will aim for, but if they miss it, they got to do something, because they're going to go flying right over the exit if they don't.
Yeah. And that's funny, because in the game you have so much freedom that every time you find a new path, it's not always easier or even faster. Most of the time it just changes the challenge, because here the challenge is in the level Heathy just finished with the fling. The tricky part is getting the right fling at the right speed and right angle, and then getting to the end, properly hitting the door. But normally in this level it's more of a being able to stay airborne without touching the ground, because this is something we don't see, that a lot of the ground you're supposed to be standing on is purple. So you can grapple to it, but you cannot stand on it, you cannot touch it. So it's tricky, but a different way. So when we have that, the game always stays fresh. And I don't know if I'll let you introduce.
Yeah, we have our
third
third
guy.
player, Royal, is on stream. We're getting, it builds up a bit of a buffer before it'll catch up and start going. So at any moment, Royal will kick in, and we'll get to see our third player have at it for at least a little bit. I think we're all kind of unsure exactly how long we'll go for. I think it comes down to the players. A lot of them have said, I played this game a lot, but I never play it for more than like 2 hours at a time because it's really draining. The mental focus and also the physical like mouse movements and stuff. Like it's no joke. So we might see the players after 2 hours are like, I don't have it in me anymore. We'll just have to play it by ear and find out.
Yeah, I can definitely feel that because even commentating does take a bit of energy out of me, and I can't even believe having to run the game by myself. All right, Royal is getting ready. But yeah, we have 3 big boys right now, and those are maybe the top 5, top 10, at least top 10. They're all top 10 in the game. I want to say top 5, but I don't want to insult anyone that thinks he's top 5 also. So let's go with top 10. So we will be sure to have some pretty good stuff here, especially from Royal, because I want to see if his skills based on individual levels are the same when we talk about marathon run. Oh, and something else that he's using is Royal actually hides the player hands. So that's an option that we added simply because some people wanted to hack the game or mod the game to remove the view model, and we said, hey, don't worry about it, we can do that for you. So that's an option to not have the hook present, but it's essentially all the same, just you can't see it.
So one thing I like about Royal's play is he's really willing to throw in a lot of grapple jumps all over the place. Like, look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just really comfortable going for squeezing these in as much as possible. And ultimately, it's like the fastest strat is to do more of them, right? But if you mess it up even a little bit, it can hurt you a lot. So it's ultimately a pretty risky thing to go for, especially in a marathon run.
Yeah, and yeah, obviously hook spam or pogo sticking is hard to do, but we must not forget that if you mess up the timing or maybe just forget to press space once, you actually just go straight down. So it's still tricky to do. But the thing is, with grapple spam like that, it's like we said a bit. I want to say chemical because that's a French expression, but it's not genuine enough. Like what I mean is,
yeah, it's not what you want the game to be.
Well, yeah, even for the players, I mean, it can be enjoyable, but if you really have to, 360 from Royal. If you have to mash your keyboard to just get some speed, well, the guy with the best keyboard or even a macro, that's the main problem. A guy with a macro can just get good instantly without having the routing or the positioning skill that other players worked on. So yeah, that's something we're going to tweak in the next update, but it's still quite impressive to see, and it's still cool in itself. It's just a bit tiring for the arm boys. But yeah, Royal right now is actually looking really sleek, and he actually uses other strats from Klooger and Heathy. So it seems like the individual level knowledge is actually paying off. That's pretty interesting. I think knowing Royal and his trolling nature, I'm sure he just waited for this stream to actually beat his PB and be like, hey, I beat Klooger or something like that. That can be something he tries. Yeah.
We'll see. It's definitely on a great pace. Out of the opening 11 levels, we've also got Heathy about halfway through, a little bit, maybe like a third of the way through another run is on climbing, getting into the end, and Klooger is, I think, on his last run. He's said as much in chat. We'll see if he feels like doing another one if he finishes. But this might be his last chance to beat his PB.
Yeah, and still, it's perfectly understandable because, my God, going this fast for more than an hour is super hard, even for a speedrunner. Like speedrunning game for a whole 2 hours almost is really taxing. Like when you see Super Mario 64 speedruns, it's maybe for the most part like 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and it's still super hard. So doing it in a FPS game that goes faster, if I could say, it's really taxing.
Yeah, and also, you know, Mario 64, like every time you get a star, there's a cutscene, and then you jump out of the painting, and there's a cutscene, and you're physically not doing anything with your hands, and also just like mentally, you're not having to focus in that immediate moment. Whereas this game, there's almost no downtime. You're in one level and into the next within like a second or two, so you get no chance to breathe.
Yeah, it's really tricky. Especially with the hook spam when you have to mash to jump and your mouse. That's something we're going to patch simply to preserve the wrists of our players.
Really good level from Klooger there. On the second try, it did have to reset to not getting enough speed. But Klooger's got like a different strategy for the level where he'll actually like do a little loop around on the ground just to build up enough speed and then go running out the side through a little side door, carry that speed all the way through the level.
Yeah, it's impressive to see Royal actually having different routes but still being smooth as hell.
Any particular rules for Chase for the Record, or is it just runners doing runs? It's just runners doing runs. The goal is to beat the record, and they get to use their time however they see fit in that pursuit. So if they feel like the run that they're on is not good enough, they can just go ahead and reset right away. If they want to play it out to see what happens, they can do that too.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the final time is based on the in-game timer. So technically, if they really need a break or something, they can actually pause the game and the timer does stop. But something we didn't explicitly say, that in the game you can time warp, and we see runners sometimes using it because it does give you a small range boost on your replicant. Since most of the time when you need to time warp is because you missed something, so we want you to be able to fix your mistakes. But when you time warp, the timer does not stop at all, so it's still in real time. So even for speedrunners, it can be sometimes useful to time warp simply to get that extra range. Like I think it's 20 or 25%. That can help you grab a block. But for newer players, time warping is super useful to just stay alive and take your time to learn how the game actually works. So it's really cool. We're really glad how it turned out.
I was always trying to go for like a pretty good time even on my first playthrough. So at times I would forget the button existed. Well, I was not using it to extend my grapple because I wasn't aware of that at the time when I was first playing. So like I just was not pressing that button at all.
Yeah, I mean that's something we just quickly quickly tell the player in the tutorial once. And something we should add is actually tips in the loading screens, so we can actually remind the players like, oh, by the way, you get extra range when you time warp.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
But it's quite fine, really. By the way, we can see since the speedrunners sometimes use it, especially when they fling around. Just to tell the chat what's going on, it's when the left hand is actually making a little pointing a finger, and when you have slanted bars, you're actually time warping. So that might not be explicit for most players since we're watching Klooger run and he's not using that much. Well,
Yeah,
he
he,
just
well,
used
he
twice.
just did to catch the ending platform there with a bit of a swing. If it is Klooger doing it, since it's his audio we have currently,
Oh, yeah.
you'll also hear the like, "Boom," that's your audio cue that they're using that time warp.
And a cool little snap at the end to stop it. Yeah, by the way, most of the stuff we made in the game is jokes we did to each other. Like I remember at the beginning of the dev, we actually had a gun. Like it was one gun with the hook, and you had to unplug the hook, retract it to be able to shoot little bullets. So that's one of the reasons why you can't still shoot while you're being hooked, but that's not too important for players. But the thing is, when we actually made the switch for hands and cold grappling hook like we have now, we had the problem like, what the hell can we do to let the player shoot and not have a second gun? Because we still wanted to have the, the time warping with the finger in the air and then the stab. That was super cool. That's why we actually made the change. But actually, I think it was Arthur that told me, "Hey, fuck it! Like, let's add a laser finger gun. Like, you point and you shoot lasers. Like, fucking sold. Let's go." And so most of the stuff we did started like that. Like, yeah, I don't care. Just make something stupid and funny, and let's go with that. That's another thing that actually frustrates me. Is we have a lot of things planned for drone and the interaction we can have, the silly stuff we can make, but we simply don't have time at all to do it. So, as always, it might come up in the future. Oh, by the way, that gives me time to talk about modding, because we had one little boy that's I started modding the game and trying to make a mode for, well, to allow other users to mod the game. And at first I was like, oh my god, that's literally the first person in existence to hack my game and break it apart. So I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. But the more we talked, the more I was actually glad to help, and so I do plan on helping him get a hold of my own code, little errors. It's fine. But yeah, maybe in the future, if all goes well, we'll have a modding community to fix stuff and tweak stuff, and even level editor. Wow. So yeah, modding and level editor confirmed for next week. No, I'm not. I'll fucking die.
So checking in with our players, it's kind of interesting actually. So the players are not racing directly; they're just kind of doing runs to try to beat their personal bests. But sometimes runners can kind of sync up a little bit, and it looks like Klooger is kind of catching up to Heathy a little bit. They're about 2 levels apart. Heathy's in Hover, which is level 57, and Klooger is just about to finish Rabitor, which is level 55. So it could turn into kind of an interesting race on the top 2 screens towards the end here.
Yeah. I'm eager to see that. I'm eager to see Klooger beat everyone. But I still want Heathy to have a good time and really prove that everyone can have a great run on this game. And still we have Royal actually defending his title as being the best on single levels. That's something I want to see. I don't know. I missed if I don't think Royal actually finished a run yet. I don't think so.
No, I just had to bail actually out of Master Airbender, though the wall run didn't quite go as planned. I think it's kind of miraculous that he didn't just die there. So
yeah,
a really nice save. But yeah, this is still the first run. So that was level 38. So, just past a third of the way through their first run.
Yeah. It does look good. I'm eager to see what time he's going to have. I'm sure he'll beat his PV at least, because he simply does not that save. It simply does not run marathon a lot. He's more of a single level guy.
Yeah, I think definitely due for a really big PB. Cool
He does
level for
have the
Heathy
strikes.
here. Yeah, long distance snipe on the switch to reveal the exit just in time. Nicely done.
Yeah, because there's a switch back there. You're supposed to do it the long way. Obviously, they do not do that.
Klooger as well.
Royale is having a bit of trouble with this level. I don't remember its name.
I think this is Control Yourself.
Oh yeah. This
Yeah,
this
level
one was designed to
41.
be really slow. Actually, people are still taking it so fast. By the way, yeah, I do not make the levels, so I don't remember the names. I'm just here to make a cool grappling gun.
All right, Heathy with a lot of speed, having to recover a little bit, missed one grapple, and then all of a sudden found himself in an awkward place, but does manage to cleanly get into the exit. Getting through that hole that we talked about can be pretty awkward. So let's see how it goes for Klooger. Oh, he bonks into the moving object, so that's going to kill his speed. He's going to have to improvise through the rest of this level now.
I know Klooger, he'll be fine. Oh, and by the way, yeah, Klooger actually getting started on Carpenter. That level we talked about, it was a reference to Carpenter and Brute. Really cool guy. That's another thing that I want to do in the future, well, like the far future, is actually I want to be like really money greedy, like really greedy to just gather a lot of cash and be able to pay the cool artists I want to work with. Because there's so many cool indie people, on even not that indie, that make crazy stuff, and I want to help them. I want to just throw money at their face and make cool shit. So yeah, maybe in like 10 years, see me like being like a Mac for creators on the internet.
Indie devs gotta look out for each other.
Yeah.
Same level now, actually, for Klooger and Heathy. Actually, Klooger has taken the lead between the two.
Yeah, and Heathy, unfortunate miss. He hits his this red block just because it's playing right before was not perfect. Damn. That's where we see the difference between Klooger and everyone else. Is just he has the strats, the safe strats locked in, and really just executes perfectly. Well, kind of perfectly. But still, Heathy is in the run.
So Klooger's building up a ton of speed, and then snaking left and right. Remember, the red is an instant death if you even just graze it a little bit, but gets through cleanly and is on to your burning, which is we're into the really late hard levels now.
Well, yeah, the later levels are kind of crazy.
Man, the switching left and right, climbing up on this wall jump level is just so much harder than Klooger makes it look.
Yeah.
It's because when you're aiming upwards, you don't just kind of move your mouse towards the thing that you want to grapple. You need to like move it sideways to rotate, and then down to look at the thing you actually want to. So it's in some cases it's kind of opposite actually of the up down is kind of inverted is one way to think of it, and it really takes a while to wrap your brain around.
Yeah, and we see Heathy trying to do a tricky strat actually, going super fast. That might not be the best idea, but it's really impressive when you get it first try. Using actually the purple blocks to get more speed. It's insane. I don't do that. Nobody should. But these mad lads do.
He's turning for wall jump, having a bit of trouble getting the edge of that blue platform, and actually I think Heathy's going to go ahead and reset. Despite being so late into the run, just knowing there were too many mistakes on those past couple of levels.
Yeah, taking it safe. Another thing that we need to fix as dev, it's not really a good thing, is the game still needs to be perfectly optimized. For like 99% of people it's fine, but I just want to hit that 100 perfect optimization for everyone. So that's another thing we're working on. Making sure that everything is perfectly smooth for every player, because I think Heathy does have a few issues when he's both streaming and running.
Final level now for Klooger on great pace. Cleanly into the exit. The final time is 2040.
That's a PB for the best in the freaking world. My god.
Just improved the world record by 10 seconds.
10 seconds world record. That's my boy. By the way, if you play the game or just have the access to the marathon run, you can see his run live in your game by just clicking this little download button we see on his screen. Yep. Insane world record, my boy. We
Well
never
done.
planned for this.
What a way to go out, too. That was Klooger's last run for the day. So to cap it all off with a world record, that can't do better than that.
Damn, and we see Royal actually getting pretty close to the end with one of the harder levels. My god, that loop around the door, a tragedy.
It's kind of impressive in its own way to get so close to the door, go all the way around it, but not actually touch it.
We see Royal with the little camera flick. Yeah, we know, it happens. It's fine. Ah damn, you can breathe, Klooger, you can breathe. You did well.
Alright. So Klooger is going to sit back and relax, rest on this new world record. We'll see if Heathy and Royal are able to beat it. It'll be a tall order for both of them. Their PBs are a couple minutes off. So I feel pretty confident in saying that the record is secure in Klooger's hands, but I guess you never know. Let's find out.
Yeah. I mean, you can now brag, at least. But I'm sure in the coming weeks, people are going to beat that. Especially if I tweak it so they can go faster than just 20 minutes. Yeah, that's another thing. Every time I do a change or tweak the game, the PPs just get 1 second faster. But it's fine, really. As long as people have fun. Hey, go nuts!
So Royal is on inertia and got a bit of a bad angle, couldn't fix it in time. Again, the walls are kind of further away than they appear in this level, so it can be pretty tricky to make some of those improvisations. But it was at the very end of the level, so not the worst place to lose all your speed.
Yeah. Royal actually getting on Athlete, which is one of our favorite level, since there's so many different things like the red block, blue blocks, yellow, and stuff like that. It's really pretty to watch. We really like it. Oh, and Royal getting into the harder levels. Let's see if his map knowledge actually allows him to get his own PP.
Globular Ranch. This is that really fun level. You're supposed to kind of go around and hit a switch, and the switch does all kinds of things. But one of the things it does is reveal the exit. And actually, Royal didn't have enough height to turn around and get into the exit on that swing, so it's going to drop down and just fall a little bit short.
Yeah, that's a big time loss, like 20 or 30 seconds. It really adds up real quick. Oh,
there we go.
Oh, this route is actually much better. Yeah, nice.
It's really tough to line up that shot. It is so far away that it becomes quite a small target to hit.
Yeah.
Heathy's got another run going. Has had a really good run going. But around the middle it started to fall apart a little bit. So there's definitely big potential for Heathy to get a new personal best as well.
Yeah. That's the tricky part. Also, yeah, if you always retry the first levels, when you get to the harder ones, it's hard to not crumble and get overwhelmed.
Really good level from Royal, getting all those grapples. Moving on to Carpenter. It's a pretty straightforward level, but getting in between the blocks that make up the cross is they're making that look a lot easier than it is.
Yeah, that's always something I cannot fathom to do. That's insane. We're just watching right now. It's so smooth. People are just, those runners are just going forward always. And even the first levels are quite cool to see, simply by watching how much speed they get. And then yeah, Royal being on urban jungle, I think it's called like that. I know that it was funny because it was one of the first levels that people actually got upset at because some people really liked it and some people really didn't. So we didn't really know how to fix that. Essentially, we just chose not to do anything because we are lazy. and yeah, some levels are not for everyone, obviously. Like I know a few players do not actually enjoy the closed off levels, whereas some others really enjoy it simply because it's a lot about mapping and just having the perfect run, while other more free players, let's say, like enjoy the options that open levels give you to be able to find your own way. You know?
I think it's nice to have a mix of all kinds of different levels.
Yeah. Except when players actually bitch about it and tell you that you don't know how to do your job because you're adding closed off level in a game that is supposed to be free. And like, yeah, I know, but I have to please everyone. Please don't scream at me. Especially when I get screamed at for levels that are not mine, really. It's just Arthur that make them. So I can actually blame him instead of my own mistakes, making a crazy game.
Well, Royal had a bit of a scary moment zigging and zagging through the red columns, and now is onto your burning.
Solid. That level is pain. But
Royal goes so aggressive on this level.
Yeah, calm down. You're in marathon mode.
All right, we did see a couple of tiny little hesitations, which I think are totally the way you should approach that level of marathon mode.
Yes,
and it did work out.
Yeah, this level is essentially touch anything, you're dead. Obviously, you're going to stress about it.
Heathy trying to recover, getting into the exit. Nicely done. What is this? I think this is missed. Just it's a very short level with a very simple idea of trying to get the perfect launch out of a tight space that will kill you if you touch anything.
Yeah. Royal not being able to hit that button. It's fine. I think he's still on PvP base. Especially since he's on Triad. I think it's the 4th last level. I'm not sure. It's getting close to the end.
Yeah, it's 6th last, I guess, and it's over now. So on to 5th last. Ooh. Easy wee.
We'll be able to see if it's all talk.
So many grapples. I really like this section when you get out, kind of outdoors-ish, like almost like Spider-Man swinging around a skyscraper or something.
Yeah, that's another thing that we will add is bigger levels, like more wider, but still with enough stuff that you get that feeling of speed. That's tricky to do, but I know that Arthur did work for an entire year on this project, which is really cool, and we both of us can actually see the difference between the levels he did at the beginning and at the end. Ooh, Royal.
Yeah, Royal, yeah, it's got a different way of skipping this level. Just running around building up a bunch of speed on that tiny platform is very difficult, but it works.
Level broke. You know, we try to design level like, yeah, you gotta be careful and walk around everything. Real is like, nah, I walk I just walk and jump and
I
don't
just
hook.
did circles a lot.
I do circles and it works.
I gotta
And the
wonder
final
what kind
level.
of mouse pad. You gotta have a pretty big surface in order to pull that off. Ooh,
Ah,
almost. Yeah, you're right. Final level here for Royal.
oh my god, don't choke it, please. There you go. There
There
you
we
go.
go.
That should
What's the
be a good
time?
PB.
That's like a full minute personal best for Royal.
Nice.
Used to have a 24:39. Yep. So
That's a full
56
minute.
second improvement.
Pretty good. Klooger doesn't have a mousepad. Yeah, my entire table is a mousepad. Alright. But I don't know if Royal wants to do another one. He doesn't have to. He did hit his PB. Maybe we're going to wait for Heathy to finish his run.
We'll see. Royal's definitely welcome to keep playing. Try to improve that time. They're certainly capable. Like, if this was their second run ever, right? You gotta figure that Royal's capable of better.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll see what Heathy can do. Going down the left path on the split. Now, I don't think it really matters which way you go. But I'm on team always left. That's just a video game rule I abide by. And for whatever reason, that's where most people seem to go on this level.
Yeah, maybe it's because it feels like your hook is in your right hand, but actually in code it's perfectly aligned. It's like a straight line. It's just that the chain looks displaced on the right. But don't worry, it's all visual.
I was
I made
wondering
sure,
about
yeah.
that, actually.
I made sure to
Had
to
the
make it
idea. Sorry, that
Go ahead.
they were like, you could put a hook in both hands and you could kind of Spider-Man from left to right. And I was like, it feels like the hook is actually in the center, though. Like, I don't really feel like I'm being pulled to one side or the other. So it's nice to have a developer confirm that, indeed.
Yeah, and two things about that. It's yeah, the idea of having two hooks in one in each hand is it was planned at the beginning, but we quickly dropped the idea simply because it's way too hard to handle for the player and in code actually. Having the proper speed and angle would have been insane. We already have trouble making one hook work. Two of them would be way too hard for me. My little programmer brain would be fried.
I can imagine.
But yeah, the other thing you talked about, shit, I forgot.
The hook's in the middle of the screen.
Oh. Damn. Oh yeah, being pulled to one side or the other. Actually, we did steal the idea from Apex Legend. You know, Pathfinder, the robot that has a grappling hook.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, his grappling hook is extremely smooth. So we actually studied it a little bit, and we actually found out that you do not pull directly to where you're hooked. Like the point of contact is not where you'll be always drawn to. There's actually a mix of where you are hooked and your camera. So if you look fully to the right and pull, you are actually going to be pulled in like an angle, like a 45-degree angle, and that's why we replicate in Cyberhook. And that's also why in certain levels you see players look straight down when they hook, simply to keep their speed as flat as possible. So that's another kind of ugly thing, but it's not usually that important, simply because looking straight ahead will always give you the best speed and trajectory. Well, always, most of the time.
I do kind of like it. Sometimes you'll see players are getting to the end of a level after a big fling or something, and they need to hook onto a platform anywhere because they just need to get onto the platform at all. And so that's usually a pretty bad or awkward angle as they approach the end. So you'll see them like look 45 degrees or whatever off to the side as they reel in to avoid kind of banging into the platform as they reel themselves in. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that you can see them physically pulling away from the ledge. Please don't
Yeah,
hit it.
yeah.
Please don't hit it. It's nice.
It does remind me of when we used to play Mario Kart on the GameCube or something like that.
Leaning to the side.
Yeah, leaning to the side, pulling on the controller to try to turn harder. But well, it does work in Cyberhook. If you lean to one side, it does give you a better speed. I physically lean over when doing that too. That's why Klooger is the best, yeah.
Yeah, he pulls his whole body into it. It's important. You lead with the hips.
Klooger says, 2 hooks DLC, please, double acceleration. Hey, I can just make a special mode that allows people to just have double acceleration. That's another thing that the community requested is mutators. Well, what we call mutators in game dev is like you have the base game and you have special modes, like for example double acceleration, or another thing people want is having a fully randomly generated level that just keeps going and going. So you have to test how far you can go. That's something we could add. That would be really cool.
That sounds like a much greater challenge than I doubled this speed value in the code.
Yeah. That will actually require me some work. So people are going to need to be people will need to be patient on this.
Thanks so much to J-Hobs for this super big raid. Welcome everyone to Chase for the Record for Cyberhook. You guys missed it. We saw the record. Klooger did it. Beat the record by 10 seconds. It currently sits at 2040. Royal and Heathy are going to do their best to beat it. Their PBs are a fair ways off, so it would be a really tall order, but they're still competing against each other. And also Audacity has the second place run right now, so they're also competing against him. There is a speedrun bounty competition happening. The top 3 times at the end of today are going to get some prize money, courtesy of the developers and publishers. And speaking of developers, on commentary with me is Todos, who is one of the developers, has been talking plenty about some pretty cool stuff about this game. So welcome.
Yeah. So yeah, right now for the people that join us, we have Royal, which is one of the best speedrunners of the game, but he's really focused on individual levels. So the interesting thing is to see if his skill on each level individually will translate to a really good run in marathon mode, which did already. Pretty good solid time of 23 minutes, I think, something like that. 23, 30. And Heathy, which is one of the newer speedrunners. I think he joined the speedrunning community like a month ago, 2 months ago. And Cyberhook is actually the first game he ever speedrun, according to him. So that proved that even if you just got into speedrunning or just got the game recently, you can actually compete with the best that have been training for an entire year, because Royale and before him Klooger actually joined the community and the Discord server a year before everyone, when the beta just started, and actually got to train on the game for much longer than Heathy or even Audacity, which is right now top two in the game. That's pretty cool. And by the way, if you want to try the game, always do a little promotion for the demo of Cyberhook. There we have one on Steam, and you can actually try out the game for free. 10 levels, pretty good. Try it out.
Oh no,
I feel yeah. Heathy did hit the dreaded corridor of death. That's
here in Big Bang. One of the largest levels, so one of the most punishing deaths to take, is not stopping to hit the switch to remove the purple that will kill you, though, and does get through successfully. Royals on the left is going to get a quick restart. It's a thing that can happen sometimes when you finish a run. The second one can get a little jittery. So you will see the players probably in between runs just doing a quick reset.
Yeah,
So
it's up
I
to
guess
them, really.
yeah, I should talk about the format of the show because we're
Oh,
basically the goal is just to beat the record. So players are just going to be doing attempts. You're going to see them reset if things go wrong. It's up to them to decide how to use the time that they have available.
yeah. Just by the way, I always feel a bit bad talking about the demo. I feel like I'm trying to sell the game like, hey, you want some drugs, kids? Go ahead, play some Cyberpunk.
It's tough. Promotion is tough.
Yeah.
You always feel a little. It's just yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
I just feel like a drug dealer. Go ahead, try it. It's good, I swear.
Well, these guys seem to be hooked, honestly,
Yeah,
so
I'm
to
really
speak.
glad. It's really insane for me. Like, I said it before, but for the newer players, it's insane for me to see players getting so invested in the game I made. It's really new for me, so thank you again for everyone that tried out the game. You're all so sweet!
So Heathy's run was pretty good up to Big Bank, I think. But then we saw one death, and then we saw another in run gun grapple that was a little bit costly as well. So I think it's possible still to PB, but we're gonna need a really close, a really tough, good finish from Heathy, and a really good purple veins like we just saw there is a good way to start.
Yeah. And by the way, they don't really need to beat each other, it's just their own time. That's what we're looking for here. So Heathy still has all his chances.
Going upwards in a level like Ascent is always so difficult. Throwing in a ton of grapples down at the stairs, getting a jump off of hopefully each of those. They came so quickly, actually, that I kind of doubt that all of them had a jump with them, but did pick up a bunch of speed using that hook jump technique. And now onto another difficult level. Need to hit that switch outside and then go all the way back.
All the while going through a tunnel that kills you instantly. Yeah.
That's right.
Most of
All the red will
harder
kill you.
levels, yeah. Red stuff kills you, purple stuff kills you, but you can grapple to it. And the blue ones just chill, and the other ones you can't do anything to it, but you can walk. It's fine.
Yeah, Royal's doing that right now. Doing a full 360 into the door. Nice little touch at the end. Heathy at the end of Inertia. We've seen a lot of players, bonk something, lose their speed on that level, but Heathy had a nice clean run all the way to the end, keeping all that speed.
Yeah.
Oh, the yellow is blocking him from grappling, so he tried to reveal another grapple point and couldn't quite get there.
Damn.
He just barely latched on that time. Alright, and that's Athlete cleared for Heathy. 22 levels left, I think, now. So about 3/4 of the way through the run.
Mm-hmm.
This purple bar at the end of the level is kind of interesting because if you have done about the same thing in the level, by the time you get there, the purple bar should be in about the same place. But if you were a little bit off, then the bar is going to be somewhere else, and you might need to kind of react to where it is based off of how your run went.
Yeah, I think this purple bar was added by Arthur when he was really mad about something. I'm not sure what hurt him, but really just adding a random bar that can kill you at the end of the level is kind of a bitch move, but hey, that's basically the whole game. It's fine.
Royal
Yeah,
with a really good fling there. Almost actually hit his head on the top of the red coil.
Yeah, that's something that happens a lot of time. When we add too much red stuff, people tend to hit it. I don't know why. silly runners that hit the rate stuff. Nah. But yeah, for us, just making harder levels mean more red stuff. It's fine.
It's a pretty good move from Heathy. Was a little bit high coming into the exit, so latched onto the exit and then immediately snapped downwards to try to tilt a little bit into the door, and it did end up working out.
Sounds good. I'm not sure how much time we have left. If they can do another run also.
I don't think anyone knows. I think we're playing this one a little bit fast and loose. It was heck trying to get players all around the globe coordinated on the day daylight savings time ends. For some of them, but not for all of them, right? Like, so we're going mostly off of player availability and willingness. I think is the main driving force here.
Because I don't think the chat knows, but we actually have Royal is Polish. I think Heathy is Australian. Not sure. And as well as Klooger. So we have people across the entire world competing for the title. That's also why it's tricky to have, I think, Audacity, which is American. I'm not sure. I don't know my players. But yeah, Audacity is the second best player in the game in marathon mode right now, so that's pretty cool. Klooger is telling us that Royal is actually Austrian, which is this fake Australia. So technically we have all 3 Australians, except one of them is Austrian, which is a spy.
Wow, what great movement from Royal, just constantly aiming and doing those hook jumps in a smooth spiral moving through the level. I have never seen that strategy executed fully the way that Royal just did, actually. That was a treat to watch.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see that even the easier levels are quite smooth to watch, simply because they move so fast and smoothly through the easy stuff. We don't really have to add so many red blocks to make it look cool. So yeah, it's really glad. And Heathy actually working on finishing the hardest level in the game, in my opinion. Nice, he gets it straight away.
Yeah, there was a couple of attempts there. It's so clearly the players are more practiced at doing it the faster way, at least. But then we've seen them, it's a very difficult strategy to pull off, so it doesn't always work. And then we see players kind of pivot. They're like, all right, I'll take it a little bit slower. But they're less practiced at that, so that can also go wrong in its own way, and you can start to kind of spiral out of control a little bit on that level. But Heathy was able to get it under control. Oh, but needs to find that switch. All right, there we go.
Yeah, since the bullet do bounce in the bullet you shoot do bounce in the game, you can actually shoot the wall and try to hit the button before for everything else. So I'm sure that right now they're just shooting a bit randomly, but I'm sure that in the future they will know exactly what spot to hit to perfectly activate the button right away. There's still quite a margin for improvement.
I'm thinking of the level Thinking with Timers has a kind of like an Easter egg that I discovered. It's like the first time I ever found an Easter egg in a video game. Which is a teeny tiny little switch that will kind of open up part of the level and let you kind of escape earlier and get a new route to the exit. But it's so small, it's so impossible to hit while you're moving that I don't think we're going to see it from the players in marathon mode for a long time.
Sure. I'm not even sure if that's faster because, this little button is just here as a joke. But I'm not even sure if it's faster than just taking the normal route, since when you get out of the box you're in, you have very little things to grab onto. So you have trouble. Oh, you have trouble finishing the level, and Heathy actually managing to beat his PB. Good job. And
22:49 is 4 seconds faster than
nice.
his
And I
previous
think you
personal best.
missed it. I think the people from J-Hubs missed it. But Heathy actually got I think 5 seconds from his PB last time. It was awful, my poor dude. But here he is, a good PB from Heathy. I'm so happy to see that. Good job, my guy.
So we saw a reset there, which indicates to me that Heathy might not be done. Might want to
I'm
jump
not
back into
sure.
it. We'll see. It's really easy to be like, I got it, right? I got the PB. I'm happy with that. I'm done.
Well,
So we'll see. We'll see how. Oh, Royal
Royal
lost the
missing
grapple.
beginning. I think that's why Royal doesn't run a lot of marathon. It's just because he's so perfectionist about every one of these runs that he doesn't want to make a single mistake. And obviously, in a marathon run, you are going to make mistakes. That's part of the deal. Aye.
Yeah, that's true. It's so easy to hit that reset button when you're going for those individual level attempts. I actually wonder if there's any player who's ever like messed up in a marathon run and just kind of by instinct like double tapped R to reset. Does it like bring you all the way back to the beginning, or does that not work at
The
marathon run?
double, yeah. If you tap double R, you'll just brought back to the beginning of the current level, and your timer will not be reset. But yeah, as Klooger say it in chat, double tap in marathon is sometimes a good idea because yeah, just I know I failed this level, I get back in the game right away. But something I'm going to add very soon is just if you press escape, so if you pause the game and press restart, I'm going to switch that button up to be sure to restart the entire marathon with a little confirmation box and stuff.
Here's that spiral I was talking about. Sorry, I just wanted to point that out real quick while Royal was doing it. It just looks so good.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I think that's the third level in the game, and it does look very smooth. Yeah, clearly he's taking a breather because he's been running for 1 hour, an hour and a half. So it's quite fine, really. You don't have to go back into it because it's tricky for me to commentate for 1 hour and a half in a foreign language, technically. But it's even harder for the runners we see to run the game for almost 2 hours. It's perfectly understandable if they want to take a break. But no, he's actually back in it. Back in the game. Whew.
Yeah, that's fine. The first level, it's the easiest reset of your life.
Yeah, and also if you reset on the first level, I'm a cool guy, so I do reset your time. You don't have to go back to the level select. But as soon as you are on the second one, you have to reset everything. So right now it's a bit tricky. If you want to reset your marathon mode, you have to exit the game to go back to the main menu or the level select and reselect the marathon mode, which is bad. And I'm going to fix it. Give me time.
It's all good. All right, so Royal's got a bit of a run going on here. We're on walk level 9, where you're kind of intended to run around on this highway, but the players instead are just going to jump over the sort of guardrails and do all kinds of shortcuts, so that was really nicely done. And this is another level that is a hook jumper's best friend. All of these little grapples by Royal are done just for more opportunities to throw in these jumps that you can do while you are attached with the hook. So that will give you a little kick in speed, and they add up real quick if you do a whole bunch of them.
Oh yeah, Pipens. I'll unban you. I don't remember why I banned from it. So I think you were spamming some shit. Let's see.
Heathy's got a run going too. This level it's pretty unique in that you're always trying to go down rather than forwards or up or anything. But turns out there's a little window in the back, so you can just kind of sneak out and go straight down to the exit, so you don't really see too much of it.
Yeah. The levels going down are actually a bit tricky, but you have some techniques to help keep that gravity speed. It's quite fine.
Here's Royal setting up for another one of these big flings.
Looks good.
Did not shoot these things though, so it's gonna have to do this all right in front of the green walls. Nicely done.
That's quite scary because it's tricky to see how close they are from you. So if you do not shoot fast enough, you lose your entire speed instantly.
It's also tricky because you're not really grappling while you're shooting, right? So in that time, Royal just happened to be perfectly lined up with the door and just kind of sailed right into it. But if you're a little bit off, it's not so easy to fit in a grapple somewhere in there to correct your angle.
Yeah, and that's something we don't really see as viewers. Essentially, it's like there are a lot of little things that they do that we cannot see. Like for example, right here, Royal is looking down when grappling simply to keep his speed as horizontal as possible, and that's something we might not catch. But it's really a whole lot of little things that add up and really turn this into an awesome run. It's not that hard to execute, which is interesting because people also tend to think it's hard to run this game, but it's just a lot of different small things that really add up to make a good run. So yeah. I keep saying that, but for everyone watching the game, you don't really have to do that to enjoy the game. Like definitely don't be as crazy as these guys. But if you do, hey, you can still have fun being like top 5 or top 10, even run for top 3, top 1. Hey, fuck it. But yeah, just look at Heathy that is actually top 10 and just picked up the game a month ago, while Royal and Klooger have been training on it for almost a year. Even though we had different versions of the game with more or less different, more or less of the same strats.
The runners are a little bit close, actually. It's not a side to side heads up race, but sometimes it can kind of end up that way. You kind of don't want it to end up that way because it usually means one player is messed up a lot. So hopefully they kind of stay this far apart for their sake. Heathy doing a big fling here,
or else it's just Klooger running, and then you can get Klooger to reach anyone's time.
Royal escaping out the side window to start the level. It's trickier than you'd think to actually cleanly get out that window. You need to you kind of need to jump at it at a certain speed. I mean, you'll probably get through there, but you might bonk a little bit and lose a bit of your speed.
Yeah, and the thing is, something we also don't see that if you hold space, so if you hold jump and get near a wall, that's when you wall ride. Sorry, and this just to get perfectly out of the window, you actually need to do a very small wall ride. So that's the tricky part. But yeah, there are a few shortcuts that we try to add for speedrunners to skip annoying, in quotes, parts of the levels. But yeah, funny thing is there are a few levels with skips that are entirely skipped. So we have speedrunners that skip the skips that we intended them to use. It's kind of tricky, but hey, if it works, it works. It still makes for a pretty cool run. And speaking of skips, Royal is doing a little skip that Klooger does not do, and it allows you to skip half the level and directly reach the tower, which used to be a lot. This skip used to be a lot stronger simply because you could literally fling you to the top of the tower, but we did nerf that. That's something we try not to do too much, like nerfs, but sometimes we just have to, because stuff is not funny anymore for people. And I don't know if I told the new viewers we have, but right now we have a technique called pogo sticking. Like it's essentially the grapple, spamming grapple and jump. It's really strong that it allows you to get a lot of speed, but it's really dependent on mashing. So it's not something we want for the game. So in a future patch, we're going to tweak that to make the other options actually more viable, and not nerf this too much. You'll still be able to mash, but you'll be able to actually get really good times without resorting to mashing your face into your spacebar, essentially.
I do kind of like the way the balance worked out though on that level where you fling up to the tower because, like you said, Klooger doesn't do it because you can get a pretty close time just kind of going the normal way around the level. So to have the two very different routes be pretty comparable to each other, it's kind of an interesting balance to end up with.
Yeah. And Happy Pants telling Klooger who's the better between Klooger and Royale, and Klooger being the mad lad that he is. It depends. And it's true, it does depend. For example, we see Royale actually taking the normal route for this level, whereas Klooger actually just flings to the end here. So that's interesting. We can actually view this entire level properly run.
Yeah, but you get to see it twice actually, since Royal somehow missed the switch. It looked really clean to me when he aimed at it and shot, but
oh, and yeah, by the
ooh.
way, that's the secret skip that is being skipped by everyone, with a second cannon right behind the first one. That actually sends you much farther, but you can convert the speed to horizontal speed afterwards. So yeah, Klooger
Cool.
just skips it entirely. Doesn't care.
Heathy doing
Yeah.
the fling on DNA, level 12. Had a reset a little bit ago, but is back on another run. It's been kind of a long day for Heathy, honestly. They've been at it since the beginning. I'm kind of impressed just with the stamina.
This boy got strength. That's nice. Something I definitely can't do. Like, I know that if I play the game for half an hour, I'm just dead afterwards. I can't do anything else for the whole day. And these mad lads, oh no, he missing his skip. These mad lads can run it for 2 hours straight. Wow. Not something I can do, clearly.
Royal just appears to be gliding through that level, just really smooth. I guess maybe I just can't tell when he's throwing in those wall runs actually, because we don't have the hands on screen. Now that I think about it.
There's only a little spark that pops up a bit after you start the wall run. So yeah, sometimes it's going to sneak a few wall runs without us noticing, but it's fine really. As long as we get a good run, it's nice. Oh, and Master and Bender for Royal, which is one of the not the hardest level, but since it comes quite early in the run, like half in the middle of the game, it's one of the levels that players get their shit kicked in for the first time.
It's really hard, and the wall runs are absolutely critical in getting through, not just quickly but safely. There's some pretty crazy stuff you can do to skip some of these sections that I think ends up being a little bit faster if you do it perfectly. But no player has been willing to do any of that kind of stuff in a marathon run.
Yeah, it's way too hard. We're going to tweak this level to make it a bit more accessible to everyone, but still keep the cool stuff. Ooh, Royal having a really good run this level, which takes a different route. Ooh, hits a wall, but still, it's good. Yeah, always glad to see multiple routes, because one thing we don't really want to see in the game is just having one route from one level and losing this kind of freedom that is inherent in the game. Like, it's a game built around doing whatever you want, and if the only way to get a good time is to do one single route, one single way of finishing the level, it's not what we want. It's really bad.
Alright, so one quick reset from Royal. Didn't get the launch that they need to get up to the top of the tower and control yourself, because you want to try to sneak in through the side, skipping honestly the hard part. Stopping your speed and then going up is the hard part. Going down at the end, much simpler.
Yeah, and that's quite fine for escape, because it's always the same one, but it's tricky to execute, and actually it does look kind of cool when you can just tell the level design to fuck off. Yeah, that's something that we plan for most of the time, not every time, but we try to make the level one way and think they're going to break it, maybe here, it's fine, and let them try out. And the good thing is, when you actually just play the game normally, you can find these skips quite easily yourself. Maybe not the best ones, but you'll definitely find skips to get you to 3 stars quite easily. And that's the cool stuff, because speedrunners will just run through the game and find you all the routes that break everything, obviously. But just yourself playing the game normally, you'll find routes to break the level design yourself. And that's really rewarding, even for us. When I play the game and I don't finish a level the intended way, I kind of feel good, because I beat the level designers. And you did. You did, really.
So Royal's got a really interesting strat for this level, and it looks like it's just barely gonna work without having to do any really heavy adjustment to get into the door. But there's a lot of wall running involved. There's a way to skip all of that stuff with a really big fling, but it's one of the hardest in the game. It's something that Heathy has worked on a lot in practicing, so when he gets there, maybe we can take a look to contrast and compare.
That's a new thing. I don't remember Klooger doing the same. Good thing from Royale, and going to snap the lower platform. Looks good, and straight into the finish. Smooth. I like it. You did broke the level, but I still like it. I know that. I think for every other game designer or level designer, it's like, oh my god, no, they broke the level. It wasn't intended to do that. I need to fix it. We're like, oh, maybe we can add something to break it even more. Actually, we did. I remember. I don't remember the A level, but I remember having this conversation with Klooger, the level designer. Klooger, Arthur, the level designer. I remember him telling, yeah, this level is quite cool, but people don't break it enough. It's too linear. All right, let's add a platform or a cannon over here to make it sure that people can blast through it. Pretty cool.
Well, the bank doesn't really have... Well, it does have that little side entrance at the start, I guess, is one way to speed things up. But once you're inside, you're kind of stuck in these tunnels, so it's just one really long and kind of dangerous run here. These purple bars will kill, and then the floors and walls and ceiling are all purple. And here, if you're skipping the button, but that's the scary stuff done now. Nicely done by Royal.
Smooth. And yeah, there is actually a button to turn all the purple stuff into blue blocks. But yeah, obviously speedrunners just skip it because it takes time to transform, and we don't have that. We don't have time over here. So yeah, in the game there are a few levels that are actually just big corridors. It's kind of fine, but most of the time we try to skip them. Well, not. We try to make sure that players can just do whatever they want. But yeah, other players do like the enclosed space, simply because they can really practice one single way and be sure that it's the right route.
Heathy is on workout, getting to the end of this level. That's level 36, so about a third of the way, coming up on the halfway point of his run. And Royal is a little bit further ahead. I think this is Run Gun Grapple, level 53.
Yep.
Yeah. And both runs overall have been pretty solid. Definitely got
clearly,
real shots at being new personal bests.
We are looking at the top like 10 or 5 of the game. So obviously, yeah, they are quite crazy. It's we need to remind ourselves that these people are not human, and they clearly are making it look easy. And yeah, it's just, I'm always amazed to see, even like 5 times in a row, amazed to see people just speeding through the level that I can barely finish.
Heathy's going to be going under this level. I think Klooger has another strat. Oh, nice. Trying to get in the little wall run there to just get that extra little kick to get what you need to get into the door. Some players will go above that level, actually. They will use the fact that you can build up speed running on the ground to just run around on top of the level rather than swinging around underneath it. And the 2 times seem pretty comparable.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part, is people can have different routes and still have pretty good times. Like I said, that's really something that we want to keep.
Royal is on hover, executing first try on a really hard level. Always feels good. Moving on now to Inertia. Had a little bit of trouble getting that one last grapple before the speed tube, but now the goal is to keep the speed all the way through the rest of the level. It's a little bit awkward with that that transparent beam that you have to pass through, because if you try to grapple while you're inside it, you're just going to grapple like right in front of you, basically. So
yeah,
you got to wait till you're on the other side of it.
That's a tricky part, because if you grapple really close to yourself, the game will actually reduce your speed a lot. It's actually to help newer players, because we've seen a lot of players just hook to a wall and start spinning around and panicking, because it's obvious when you are going to die if you let go. You don't want to do any crazy stuff. So yeah, if you actually, like we've just seen with Royal, if you hook really close to yourself, it's just going to stop and kill your momentum.
Well, Heathy is trying to execute a very, very difficult strat on Wasteland. This was the level where their last really good run ran into trouble too, actually, so this has got to be a little bit frustrating. And it looks like he's going to move on to a safer strategy with the wall runs here. But even that didn't go so good. Can he save this? There is no grapple points. Oh.
I think it's going to the end of his PB, because yeah, I think it's the third time he tried this level again, which is not that hard if you do the normal ride, but obviously we're looking at speedrunners that just don't care. They're going to do the hard route either way.
Alright, is past the hard stuff. Well, I don't know, landing all of these grapple jumps up all these targets while moving at high speed is, never easy, but it's all relative here for these players. Finally done with Wasteland, can put that behind him as Heathy moves on.
Finish from Heathy. Looks good.
Royal hitting all of these hook jumps off these little tilty blocks, has plenty of height to get into the exit at the end of the level. On to Carpenter. Level 65, so pretty late into the run now for Royal.
Hopefully it doesn't reset again. Oh no! Royal actually hooking too close to himself. I think that's something I'm going to fix in the coming days. Simply just prevent you from hooking too close to yourself. if you are aiming at something else. There are a lot of small tweaks that I try to add to avoid those bad situations when players don't exactly do what they want to do. Like for example, there is a very small aim assist in the game. So if you do not actually hit perfectly a cube straight on, I'm going to check around your crosshair if you can hit something else and hit that instead. But sometimes it does get some false positives, especially when you're extremely close to a block. That's gonna be fixed.
There's a couple of really good levels for Royal now. Into some of the harder stuff. This is 69 Catacomb. And Heathy is on Big Bank. Has failed once here before, but not this time. Through all of the scary stuff.
Smooth landing. Ooh, very smooth landing.
And then just going nuts, hoping some of these shots happen to ricochet onto the switches.
Yeah, sometimes the runners are just randoming. In French we call that piffé. And yeah, just try to hit it. Usually it works, actually, so why not try it again?
Heathy with a fling now on this level. The angle looks pretty good.
It's really
He used
good.
the slowdown there, but maybe could have got away even without using it, actually.
Yeah, that's really tricky because you're going so fast. I think it was like above 180. You're going so fast, it's really hard to snap to a 1 meter wide block. So
Oh, no.
obviously the downbreaker itself. Oh,
Royal at the end of Speed It Up with the red bars everywhere and just kind of tripped right at the end.
ah, damn, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's fine. Oh, back into you burning. And oh my god, that would have been so good. Royal being able to rush through this level first try. Oh, two last hooks. I think it just doesn't want to play that level, so let's just go as fast as possible so the pain can go away.
Yeah, Royal does always seem to take this one pretty aggressive. I'm trying to think back to Klooger's run now. That is now our new world record.
Yeah.
Did that get this first try or not? I don't remember.
I
don't think so.
remember. I do remember that Klooger did this level the intentional way. Like, what we intended is just hook to the blue stuff and do it straight. And Royal actually losing quite a lot of time on this. Just take your damn time. Relax.
So there's a bit of delay here. So we're seeing Royal in the past, and yeah, now here comes the pause.
Yeah. No, don't fucking restart. My God, Royal. It was good.
Well, he says I ultimately failed the sub Heathy run, and the third hour has ended. So Royal is going to stop before he goes insane, in his words.
That's quite understandable. It's fine. Your burning is one. I think I heard Arthur or something without knowing it, and he made no your burning, something like that. This level is just insane. Yeah.
We still got one run from Heathy though. He's on level 58, I think, inertia. Yes, correct. So, about 20 more levels. We'll see. We'll see if Heathy can pull it out. A new personal best. I think it's kind of out of the reach with how the run has gone so far. In terms of catching Audacity for the number 2 position, but you want to end it with a personal best if you can.
Yeah, we can still see some pretty cool stuff from Heathy.
Honestly, with how Wasteland went though, it will be pretty tough even for Heathy to beat his PB. Like it's a pretty good run now from him, so he's gonna need something really special in the back quarter to make this happen.
Yeah. And yeah, Royal, you can actually take a breather now. Whew, that was some pretty good run. But that's impressive to see Heathy still running after more than 2 hours. Damn. Strong boy.
The long shot on Globular Ranch, was it good? Yes, it was.
Yes. There's actually one button, a button far in this level, and yeah, most speedrunners just skip it and try to shoot it from far away. It does look cool.
Learn to Fly, level 63. Another one of these levels where you kind of sneak in and out of the sides. It doesn't really seem like you should be able to do it, but if you really stare at the level, you can realize that, oh, those are transparent. There's nothing stopping me from just weaving in and out.
Yeah, a very easy fix for us would be just turning them solid, but we don't want to do that. Just break it, fuck it. Go nuts.
A lot of speed from Heathy coming into the end of Paragon, and now on to Carpenter, level 65, bonking the cross a little bit, and it's going to go ahead and reset the level. Obviously, it's a pretty small mistake, but that speed is going to matter for the rest of the level. And so even if it's costing you 2 seconds or whatever to reset, you're probably making that up just from having that speed for the rest of the level.
Yeah, and like Klooger said, Heathy has an impressive determination. That's my boy. That's really cool. And I'm really glad to see like people running the game so hard. Props to you, mate. I definitely can't do what you're doing, mate. And that's the dev talking.
Alright, nice transfer and dissension now on Urban Jungle. Extremely difficult level in the books.
Yeah. We're getting to the end right now, and yeah, we're just seeing more and more red stuff. Red cubes everywhere. We're starting to see memes of this. Getting to the harder levels, Chuckles, I'm in danger. Red blocks everywhere.
Surrounded by the red block, yeah. Well, a couple of quick deaths, but it does mean that Heathy had a really good start actually on this run. Kept a bunch of speed, and then into the exit. So here's another level. Wool is another level where everything's kind of bigger than you think. So it seems like it's closer than it is. Can be tricky to have some discipline in making sure that you grapple at the right time.
Yeah. This level is all red and there's like 2 or 3 blue blocks. And yet, just smoothly go in. Ooh, another route from Heathy and still some pretty smooth movement. I really like this boss, just running. Really like running in this game. Which used to be shit, but now it's really cool.
Here we go, the infamous level.
Let's see. You can flex now, Heathy. Show that you're better than Royal. Oh, second try. Look at that, Royal. Ooh.
Slowing down just a little bit.
Yeah, actually. I don't know if you know this route, Royal is in the chat right now, but if you hook to a block, really close to you, you actually stop all your speed. And yeah, the blue blocks are meant for that. You can hook to them, just stick to the wall. No risk, no fun. Yeah, that's my boy here.
Here we go with Funfair, trying to rebound shots off the wall to hit the switch. This has been a hard thing for all of our players today. It looks like Heathy is still struggling a little bit with that one.
Yeah. And the famous try harder, which a lot of people actually do try harder. And like I said a bit early in the stream, this level was meant to be finished in like 15 to 20 seconds, and now speedrunners are finishing it, clearing it in like under 9 seconds. Fucking mad lads.
On to Easy Wee, zipping around the outside of the building before one just really straightforward run and gun into the end. Cyberhook here. I don't actually know what this level looks like because the first time I did it, I saw this platform and was like, oh, I can do one of those flings, and I did one of those flings. So I have no idea what all that looks like on the left side of the screen. I can't tell you about it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about the game, that you can actually discover more things. Wow.
Heathy first try executing on that really cool skip on Cube of Death. It is a nice hybrid strategy between speed and safety, and it's something he came up with that works out really well for him.
Yeah, looks nice. And even Royal doesn't is surprised by this finish. Pretty cool. And final level, just try out the end of Triado, and first try, nice.
What a
Oh, but
finish!
that's not a PB, is it?
No, it's
It's
not.
so close. But yeah, Heathy already got his PB in the stream a bit before. It's really cool, mates. So cool. Whew.
That was with what, like 4 deaths on Wasteland or something, right? Like
Yeah, we did say, oh my god, it's done. He can't do it. But yeah, he came like 4 seconds close to his PB, so definitely can improve a lot.
yeah, for sure. Well, I think that's gonna do it for our chase for the record. We had a record. Congrats to Klooger improving the world record by 10 seconds.
10 seconds. That's crazy. It's crazy, but yeah, when we first started releasing levels, usually it's just Klooger just beating everyone by 10 or 20 seconds, and then everyone copying his strats. Pretty insane thing. But yeah, that was a great thing, a great stream, and really glad to see so many people enjoy the game and run it. And props to Klooger for another world record. Good job, my man.
Another one. He just keeps racking them up. Thanks everyone for watching. That's gonna do it for Cyberhook. I suppose this competition doesn't end until the end of today. So if our players felt like coming back and trying to improve their times and submitting it and all that, then maybe we could see some last minute shifts. But that's gonna do it for our streams of Cyberhook. Todos, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Congrats again to Klooger, but also to Heathy and Royal for some personal bests. Audacity also as well was not able to play with us, but currently has the number 2 time. Thanks again everyone for watching. Coming up on Speed Gaming in less than an hour, there's going to be some new Super Luigi U, and then all kinds of stuff happening all throughout the day, as there always is on Speed Gaming. We hope you enjoy that and hope you have a great day. And consider checking out Cyberhook. There's a demo for free on Steam right now.
Yeah, you don't have to be Klooger, but you can still have fun.
That's right. Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.